reach nowhere, so you have to find a way. Them no want you reach nowhere, so you have to find a way. Them no want to see you rich, them will love to see you in a ditch. Them no want to see you on tour, them no want you get more, so get more. Show them you not afraid them, one load them. Every human have a something that them destined. That is your destiny, so be what you ought to be. Even if no want you reach nowhere, so you have to find a way. Them no want you reach nowhere, so you have to find a way. Them no want to see you fly, them no want to see you touch sky, them no want to see you fly. Hey. Bling bling, now me call it King Kong. Every song I write, hit song. Every song I write, hit song. Tell me something, am I wrong? To believe in myself, put nobody above myself. Energy, build your energy. Love, charity, what a sight to see. What a colossal. Working and working to prosper. What you gonna stop for? Keep on, it's right on the corner. Hey, make way when I'm weird there. Hey, tell it you to them stay there. Hey, that is your destiny, to be what you ought to be. Even if no one you reach nowhere, so you have to find a way. Them no one you reach nowhere, so you have to find a way. Them no want to see you fly, them no want to see you touch sky, them no want to see you fly. Hey. Them no want to see you fly, them no want to see you touch sky, them no want to see you fly.
Importance. We pray, O God, that in our discussion we will be cordial, respectful, and forthright. We pray, O God, that in everything we do here tonight would be to your honor and glory. We pray for those who may be on their way here, that they will get here safely and partake in this discussion. And, O Heavenly Father, we remember our brothers and sisters and colleagues in Jamaica, who are at this moment facing a turbulent and terrible hurricane. We pray that you would protect them. We pray that you will allow them, O God, to go through this storm unscathed and arrive on the other side, giving you the praise and the glory. And Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather in this place as we celebrate your name as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Amen.
Well, the room is packed. Good night, everybody. Realize we start early
Good evening
tonight.
once again to all. This evening we are... Good evening once again. I am your moderator for this evening, Weekly Daniel. This evening we are gathered here at a very significant town hall meeting to discuss the special sustainability zone and the proposed project for Nevis. I must say that prior to being here this evening, the Nevis Island administration, primarily the cabinet, had a number of consultations. On the 7th of October, they met with the St. Kitts Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce. On the 10th, they met with the opposition parliamentarians. On the 14th, church groups. On the 16th, hoteliers, taxi association, and the tourism personnel. On the 24th, they had a meeting with the police high command. And of course, tomorrow, if I can go on, if I can also borrow a slogan from the Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness, because we believe in that, tomorrow we'll have a special press conference which will deal exclusively again with the special sustainability zone and the proposed project. On the 30th, the cabinet will also meet in the morning with the 6 farmers and in the evening with the construction companies and heavy equipment operators. To begin this evening's town hall meeting, we'll call on the Honorable Premier to give brief remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It appears that we've run out of chairs, and so I apologize for that.
Telling you, it's a packed room tonight.
But thank you all
Definitely,
for
I do not feel
like
like this was big enough.
Democracy. There has been a tremendous level of chatter about this proposed project on the south coast of Nevis. As a government, we have taken the position that what we seek to do is to engage with our people, to consult, to share with you the information, to let you know where we are at this point and where we hope to go. We are hopeful that through this engagement and others that you've heard of, various stakeholder groups, that we will get from you an indication of your position, and that those positions garnered from you will help us as government in terms of shaping our response to the proposal that has come.
They went to then go there and come to the people. No.
Now, I ought not to assume that you know who we are. So I'm Mark Branty, the Premier of Nevis. On my immediate left is the Deputy Premier, the Honorable Eric Evelyn. On my immediate right is the Minister, the Honorable Minister Spencer Brand. He has responsibility for public works and other areas. On Minister Brand's right is the Honorable Troy Liebert. He has responsibility for education et al. And on Eric's
This needs to be at NEPAC with media from both islands.
Bro, you are correct, sir. The choice of venue was not appropriate for this. I must say, I'm looking forward to see the category of people who are there. I think that the most important set of people with regards to the SSZ are the working class. If the working class is invigorated by this, then this is gonna be impactful, and this is gonna be something what goes into the election. If the working class don't care, then this gonna be an argument with capitalists. But let me listen.
So I hope that we have no objections to that approach. That is what we're hoping to do, to give you some information and then obviously to engage and to have your questions asked, and where possible that we can
Does
answer
anybody feel like the developers should have been here tonight? When do you feel like we should hear from the developers? I would like to hear that from the audience,
concluded
please.
Any arrangements. We have decided that the best approach on this is to consult first, and then to have that consultation inform our position. I know that there's been a lot of chatter.
That's my issue with this.
But I'm here to tell you,
we come into the people last. You hear the guy chamber, commerce, police, all kind of different organizations. This is also a question what we got to think about.
that is why we're here.
When people say they want to replace,
we can get through this evening
how far do we want the system to change? Do we want a better system, a system will represent the working class?
So thank you very much. We look forward to that engagement. And we will play that video, and then we will get into the slideshow. And as I say, Mr. Brand will handle that from here.
This might be the 15-minute video, you know. If this is the 15-minute, if this is the video, oh yes, is our destiny right now.
Hello, fellow Nevis and Cartel. My name is Olivier Janssens, and I'm the founder of Destiny. I've been proud to call myself a Nevisian for almost a decade now, and in that time, I have come to see both the challenges and the immense opportunities of our island. Around the world, special economic zones have transformed entire nations. Dubai is perhaps the clearest example.
Can somebody be a proud Nevisian if nobody ever know?
Is now a global hub of wealth, innovation, and opportunity. Europe has Monaco,
I don't feel
and the
like
Middle East has Dubai,
enough contacts.
but the Americas still lack their own equivalent. I believe Nevis can seize that role. The first country in the Caribbean
Dubai,
to create a modern zone of this kind will not only uplift its people, but could become one of the wealthiest and most desirable regions in the world. When I looked at Nevis, I saw a place ready for transformation. The southern corridor of the island is today completely undeveloped and sadly in decline. Erosion eats away more land each year. Yet this very area, if properly managed, holds the potential to become the engine of Nevis's future. Today I would like to share with you what we have envisioned for this project and what Destiny can become, and how it will ultimately transform Nevis.
This is the sweet part, you know. It's amazing, stunning. Well, this has been called a town hall meeting. From my understanding, the town hall comes from like the Puritans up in Massachusetts. That's a farm where you address the people and the people are there to interact with those who represent them and to make decisions there that will be implemented. So it's supposed to be an exchange. Look at this video. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the amount of water. This is a lagoon. This phenomenal. I feel like one shoes and a big conflict. This I don't know how to counter this. Don't be weird with you. The only way to counteract this is maybe these people don't see this before. Look on this playing in the water. Good evening. I thought this was a town hall meeting. Didn't we see this pack already? Well, Mr. Mills, my observation is that tonight is about the government legitimizing this project and quelling
what
any
you have
fears
just
that the
seen
people
is
have,
only the beginning, a glimpse of what Destiny can bring. New opportunities,
and I'm not just speaking about the NRP,
and a brighter future
anybody
for Nevis and its people.
who is opposed
To bring this vision to life,
this
we
project
have partnered with Skidmore, Owings and Merrill,
to bring their
also known as
concerns
SOM,
to the table, and if
which
the
are one of the most
concerns
respected
are
architectural
not
firms in the
addressed
world.
adequately, I do not think
SOM
that this
has
project
designed
will
some of the most iconic
move
projects on the
forward
planet,
ultimately.
including the
You
World
give me
Trade
a
Center in New
number,
York,
let's talk with you.
and they have
This is
delivered
my contact
developments
number.
of this scale across every continent. Their
Um,
experience
bro,
ensures
I'm
that
gonna
Destiny
reach out
will
to
be
you.
built to the highest international
Se-
standards.
Send me a message on
Nevis is
Facebook
this
right now,
amazing
and I
tropical
send you my number.
paradise.
So they're wasting
It's
20 minutes.
really unspoiled, and we want to preserve that
Well,
feeling of
Mr. Mills,
remoteness.
you've all look
That
at it.
this
This is another view,
an escape,
This is
and
another
yet
view.
very connected to the
and
earth.
I will tell you, I
In the way
actually
that
watched this
we've approached
video
the master
prior
plan,
to this,
seek to
and you
derive
can
all
at
of our
least
design
find out
decisions
who are the
from the
people you
existing
need
beauty
to
of the
research
site, from the topography, from
and
the water,
find out
from
if
the
they
shape of the
indeed
beach.
meet
We want
some
to
of
create
the
an architecture
criteria.
that's
If are going to be
in
legal
balance with
challenges,
nature. I always think
I
that
heard,
nature is the best designer. In this
I
case, we
heard
have a site
Patricia
that's
Clarkson
got,
suggesting
I
that
think, close to 2
the
miles of
NRP should
beach
turn this
along
over
its
to the
edge.
legal fraternity.
From
If there are going to be
the
legal
beachfront,
challenges, they're
there'll
going
be
to be
an oceanfront
based on the
promenade
criteria
there.
of the law.
And then from that kind of promenade,
So,
we'll have kind
and
of
that's one of the
fisherman's
criteria.
village,
So there is some
pedestrian
useful
and
information
nature.
in the
And
video.
then stepping up gradually a set
But
of
it's an
neighborhoods
advertisement
which are very
overall.
often surrounding
As I say,
lakes,
they
which will
want to
shape
make
based
sure
on the existing
that
landforms that we'll see.
person's
So when you
that person
see
feels
Destiny
awkward.
from the boat as you approach, you immediately
So we
take
get this
away
lovely
that this
video.
place was designed with nature first. To me,
One thing
that's
I will say,
poetry, and that's the
the
poetry
investment in
of engineering.
the movie
It's great for
industry
the
has
planet,
paid
it's
off.
great for
I
the
will
economy.
give the concerned citizens
In developing the master plan,
These
we're
videos
drawing
are
upon our
amazing. They make
experience in
Nevis
other
look amazing.
projects globally
This is the one and only
be
chance we need with the people to
aspirational,
come
but
out and
also
put forth their views directly to the
We've
people.
engaged with the
And bro,
local experts who really
that is why I
understand
think
the
it is
ecosystem of
important
Nevis, as well
that
as
people
international experts.
engage with this.
We intentionally
The
are
level
designing
of
for families,
engagement,
we're designing for young professionals,
particularly
because
as
we
I
want
said, the
that
most important
diversity
people
of a community
are the working class.
as part of the just
And if the
overall
working
character of the
class
place.
come out
One of the founders
and express
of
that they do not
Skidmore,
like
Owens and
this,
Merrill, my firm, said
then I feel like that's
humankind
going to be
will be
important.
judged
That's
by the
what
marks that
ultimately
it makes on
would
the
stop
earth.
the project.
And I feel
That's
that
why the
responsibility
people
when we do a
ultimately
project like Destiny.
have say
We
in the government.
have a
But
responsibility
it's
to
the working class,
make
ain't
people
just the
fall in
capital
love
owners,
with this
ain't just the
place they're calling
landowners,
home.
it's the people who want to own piece of land. And
Thank you, Scott.
the issue is,
We will soon unveil our more detailed
NRP
master plan,
has to
showing exactly how
effectively
Destiny will take
convey
shape on the south side of
to the
Nevis.
people
At the heart
that
of
this is
Destiny
a threat to
is a
them.
deep respect for the nature and the rich
If
natural beauty of
the
Nevis.
working class perceive
From the
this as
beginning,
something that is
we
going
made
to be
sure
beneficial,
that our
they are
plan
going
will
to
leave ample
with
green
this.
space.
Ultimately,
This is not a project of endless high-rises. Everything will be low-rise, and it will be carefully integrated with landscape and surrounded by greenery. We envision tree-lined neighborhoods,
well, when we get to the
open
end of this
parks,
video,
and natural spaces that allow
that's
both
when I
residents
feel like
and
the
visitors
deal
to
done,
feel
son.
connected to the island's beauty. We even plan a professional golf course, while still
That was
preserving
already
wide,
sold,
open
without
natural
the consent
spaces
of the
for
people.
everyone to enjoy. Destiny is
Well,
designed first and foremost as a safe family resort community, a place where people can live permanently with their families. In fact, we plan to make Destiny one of the safest places in the world. It will be family-oriented and family-friendly, with neighborhoods, green spaces, and amenities built for everyday life, not just for short visits. Destiny is about families living, growing, and thriving together. We are also conducting a full environmental impact assessment to ensure that Destiny is developed responsibly and sustainably. To guide us in this process, we are working closely with respected environmental experts, including Dr. Deborah Brosnan, who is internationally recognized for her work in marine and coastal resilience and is very familiar with Nevis. Dr. Brosnan will now share a few words about the project.
Everything that happens on Nevis is completely tied and aligned to the natural ecosystem. We know that our future is changing, so we have to plan and build for the future, and that's what Destiny is looking to do. And Destiny recognizes that nature is our ally. And when you align with nature, what you do is you create resilience. Nature provides that resilience.
My question
Destiny's
to you
plan is to understand how are we getting
this for
resilience
me
from nature,
is
and
a
then to
major
restore
failure
that resilience.
on behalf of
The
NRP.
coral provides the sand,
Do you
but it
hear
also
NRP
provides habitat and
speaking
fisheries.
of this
So what
in
Destiny is doing,
regards to working
building and
class people?
recreating reefs as part of the natural
You
infrastructure
feel like
along
that
the coast.
has been a major part
We will be restoring
how
those reef
this has
structures
been
that provide
portrayed?
habitat to so many species, that provide fisheries,
Maybe I'm
great
wrong,
and beautiful place to
but
snorkel,
tell me what's your
fantastic
perspective.
education site. We're also creating new jobs in this area because you're creating stewardship jobs. You're contributing to the local fisheries. You're also cutting down on costs because restoration is far cheaper than engineered solutions. Nature is the foundation of the economy. The people of Nevis have been living here for centuries. They have an amazing traditional knowledge.
I will tell you
You're
something
marrying
about
that with
any
future
project.
science. What you create
When
is a
you
local
hear about a
workforce that has
project
the skills
and you
that
do
don't
not
exist
hear
here today.
about the
And what you can create
downside,
is a much stronger community. And the strength of
it's
that is
not
phenomenal in terms of
realistic.
creating empowerment to
The
make
reason why
decisions
you
about
need
nature.
to tell us about the downside
Destiny's plan and what
is so
Destiny
that
will
we
do
can
is to restore
understand
this
that
ecosystem
going into
so
it
that it is
and possibly
functioning
build
properly.
systems
The
to
native
mitigate
species are back, the reefs are doing
against
their job
those
for fisheries,
potential downsides.
biodiversity, and we're
But
protecting
everything
it.
about this is
When
just
you come back here in 10 years' time, you won't
fantastic.
recognize this place because the native species will be here, because we'll have better protection.
This is another thing what was
So you will have
stunning to
your
me.
snorkeling gear and you'll go out and see
She
it.
said she bring back local birds. I didn't even know the birds were gone. Nevis people don't show up tonight. I will.
Now, you may be
These
asking,
people, the
it all
green
sounds
light.
exciting, but what does it actually mean for Nevisians and Kittians? Destiny will deliver tangible benefits. Thousands of jobs, both immediately and long-term. Jobs during construction and in permanent sectors like hospitality, services and technology. The Nevis government has additionally mandated that Nevisians and residents be given first preference for all jobs.
The government said
apply for all
local
conditions.
people got to get preference. That's a point in favor of CCM.
a year
I don't got to be fair. Good night, Miss Weeks.
$50 million into Nevis
$50
infrastructure.
million.
This includes millions in funding for the Alexander Hospital and healthcare centers.
No,
The remaining
I want
funds
you
go
to
new
notice
critical projects
he
beyond
is
the
saying
Nevis government.
specifically that he giving
We will also
money
ensure
to go
these
to the
projects are
hospital,
delivered to the highest standards. Because
and
this is the part
also
of Nevis,
the remaining money
also
going to
Nevis
other
to share in its
infrastructure.
success.
That is important to
Therefore,
know.
we are very excited to announce that Nevis will get a permanent 20% profit share in Destiny, so that we will all grow together.
20%
10%
profit.
will go directly to the government,
Wow.
and an additional 10% will go into a sovereign wealth fund, which will generate long-term returns for future generations.
One question that we must ask, which government gonna get that 10% there?
And because investing in
Is that the
people is just
NIA
as important, I am
or the
proud to
federal
announce
government?
$1 million
How that gonna
yearly
share? How
scholarship
you gonna get a
program
fair share
for
in that
Nevisians
10% there?
to study
We gotta
abroad.
know.
This begins immediately and will continue every year moving forward. And
That
last but
scholarship
not
there is a
least,
big thing
in the
too.
world's
$1 million
first,
a year
and this is
US.
truly historic, Destiny is announcing today that we will be sharing an additional 5%
Okay,
of our
ladies and
profits
gentlemen,
directly with you, which means you all get to take part in its success. This profit
Okay.
share will be paid out to you directly
Yeah.
and through technology, which we will create early next year.
Isn't that next part? You're good.
To make sure you stay informed about this initiative and benefit as soon as it is available, you can go to destiny.com today to sign up.
Sign up.
Finally,
Everybody
I
got
want
to
make a
sign
direct
up
appeal to every
with
Nevisian
Destiny.
politician
I
who
want
wishes to
to think
contribute
about
to
that part
Destiny.
there.
We will need
Everybody gonna
thousands
get the
of hands and
5%.
minds to bring this
You got
vision
to
to
sign
life.
up with Destiny.
If you are looking for work,
Hmm.
or if you own a company that provides services, from
Why
construction
I
to
think Destiny
hospitality,
want everybody
logistics
in
to
the Navy
creative
sign up?
industries, we want to hear
So,
from you. Please visit
Me
destiny.com
not say
and go to
nothing
the job
against the
section
money.
to submit your application or proposal. Whether you are an
And
individual
everybody
seeking
got
new
to understand,
opportunities or a business
this
ready
is
to grow with us,
5% of the profit
Destiny welcomes
split
you.
up between the population and Navy.
This is a call for
This is
everyone
not everybody
who
gonna
wants
get
to be
5%
part of
in
building something
the amount
truly
of 5%.
historic. Before I close, I also want to address a few common concerns directly. If you own land in the area and you do not want to sell your land, you don't have to. Selling is voluntary and always will
Somebody
be.
need to ask a
And
question
for
about
those
this.
who are open to sell,
Somebody
want to
need to
keep
ask a
owning land
question
in
about
Nevis,
this.
we are happy to offer land swaps for a different area. We know land is very precious and we fully respect that.
SSZ law is a federal law.
Also,
NRP should not
Destiny is not a
politicize
separate
it. They should
country.
work on the national
Constitution of St. Kitts and
mobilization. But
Nevis
however, the
fully
people should
applies.
move in terms of
And while the
protesting
zone will have
against
its
it.
own internal
It's not a
regulations to
party
attract
thing.
investment and be safe and secure,
Well,
we
bro,
remain bound by the Constitution of St.
my
Kitts
kind of
and
argument
Nevis.
is that isn't it
In
the
regards to
role of a
access,
political
Destiny
party
will always
to
remain open and
organize
welcoming.
people,
Anyone is free to visit
particularly
Destiny
if
at any
they
time.
have an
All
opposition?
beaches in Nevis,
Isn't it the
including
party
those
role
within
to
Destiny,
organize the people? Me
will
not say
remain
no.
open to the public.
Because I
All
also
potential
feel like there
activities,
need to
such as
be
fishing, will
leaders on the
continue,
ground in
just as they
general.
do today.
Future
In closing,
politicians
I want you to know
doing
that
their
Destiny
job
is more than a development.
within the
It is a
communities, but
promise,
isn't
a
it the
lasting
party's
partnership.
role to kind of do
It
this?
is opportunity
That's why I
to
kind of
create
say
jobs, protect our nature,
NRP
invest in our
look
future,
like they kind of
and place
slacking
Nevis on the global stage
in
where
certain
it
respects.
belongs. But most of all, Destiny is about you, about Nevisians,
There's no opposition
Haitians,
across the
and
world.
international
Why
families
these things are happening
living,
contrary to the
growing, and
people's
thriving together
wishes?
on our beautiful island.
Once again,
For centuries,
I feel
Nevis has
like
been
Pam is a
known as the
party.
Queen of the Caribbean. With Destiny, we now
People
have the
does tell
chance
me
to make her a
about
jewel of the
Dr.
world.
Harris as well
And the
still,
most powerful part is
and
this.
they have a responsibility,
Destiny is not just ours to build.
not because they are
It
not
is
the
yours
leader
to
of the
share in.
opposition.
Every step
They
forward we
they
take,
could
every success we
organize
achieve, will also be
as
your
we say
success.
working class people
Together,
if
we can
they
create
are
something historic.
concerned about this
Together, we can show the
to
world what a small
oppose
island
effectively.
with a big vision can accomplish.
And that's why I say
And together, we will make
I
Nevis not
kind of
only a
put
jewel of the
some of that
Caribbean,
part
but a
NRP.
shining
As far as how they
example for generations
portray
to come. Thank you.
or are portraying this issue. Well, half an hour done gone, eh? And we haven't had anything new yet. I wonder if them man know the video done that. Eh? Okay. Seems like we're gonna have some words from Mr. Brand. But my overall thoughts are that the working class people are the ones who matter in this case.
Good evening
If they can
once
sound,
again, ladies
then
and
we got
gentlemen,
action.
and it is indeed happy to see so many of you here tonight. I will take you through the slide presentation, and I would hope that you can hold your questions until we are done with the presentation. However, if you feel that you really need to interject and ask the question, then please go right ahead and do it. The presentation is in approximately.
Yeah.
Okay. The presentation is in 4 sections, and the first section, of course, would highlight the team credentials, the site plan and visualization, the environmental
But I would
impact,
also
and
tell you,
finally the economic impact.
If this is a big thing, I would imagine that there are a lot of people who have registered recently. If this is a big thing, we're supposed to see it. This supposed to be an election. If this is a big issue, he got high registration and high voter turnout.
Mr. Jensen is an individual who would have been involved in the IT management business. He would have also been involved with the Bitcoin industry since 2010. And
does anybody feel like any of these people should have been here?
And Tesla,
is this the way they introduced to these people?
Is this an investor in X, I believe that was previously
just a question.
Twitter. So, and he would have been a citizen of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis for approximately 7 years, or more than 7 years. We have also, as part of the project team, Graeme Brooks, who is the project lead, and he has an MA in History and Politics from Oxford University and an industry background in offshore professional service.
This will come out for the Destiny website, huh?
A deep understanding of political economy and jurisdiction with real-world experience in leadership and management.
This is the Destiny website.
Yes.
Half topic, but with all the money this
please.
man have, he should invest in dental care.
You will
money can
ask your questions at the end of the slideshow, please. Please.
Okay, while I continue.
We have a lot of Europeans in the crowd as well.
No, you shouldn't forget.
I'm seeing a lot of landowners.
Write it down.
Yeah.
Once again, I focus
Stephen
tonight. The
Craven,
working class
is
who matter.
And he has been
I would like to hear what the working class I say. From them, I could tell you from them when we meet at Dr. Packer party, them not like this.
And he is with Price Waterhouse
but I don't know the working class
who
and the
is, of
ground.
course, an internationally known accounting firm. We have Miss Georgina Atkinson, who is the Chief Sales Officer, and Miss Atkinson has over 17 years in ultra-luxury real estate sales and marketing. She would have been involved with Knight Frank and Berkeley Group, which is a luxury investment group in New York, London, Dubai, and Singapore. We have Mr. Ben Hudson, who is the Chief Operations Officer and a seasoned real estate leader with over 28 years in master development and asset management across the United States.
I go to Destiny
Southeast
website
Asia
and tell all the
and
people
the Gulf
them
region.
too. See me?
We have Professor
You just go into the website.
Bell,
Look here.
who is a civil and constitutional law expert.
I can't see it.
And he would have been
What is
involved
Destiny
with the
website?
Panther University in California.
This is simply Destiny website.
We have
This is nothing new.
Beer, OBE,
Why?
who is a judicial system and ADR expert.
Okay,
and
let me ask a
is
different
chief,
question. I don't pressure any of it.
executive
Let me
and
ask a question when it
registrar
comes
of
on
the
to
Dubai
the
International Financial Center,
movement.
and he would have been involved.
Ladies
in
and
several
gentlemen, so
growth
far we have
development
opened with
We have
a video
Professor
that
Eric
has been
Bruner,
available for
who is
2
a
weeks,
criminal and
and we
constitutional
are
law
getting
expert,
the
and
Destiny
he would have
website
been a
walkthrough right now.
constitutional and criminal law
If
expert
all we're gonna
at
do
the
is get
Arizona State
information
University.
that we already
We
have,
have Dr. Andreas
will that be
Bugan
enough for the concerned
Bogdan,
citizen
hope I
movement
get that name right.
to
An
quell
expert
the
with decades
concerns of
practice
the
experience,
landowners? Is that
and
gonna be enough?
he would have been one of the
That's a
individuals
question what I want to
who
know.
have been consulting on this
Because
particular
as I tell
development.
I show her up
We
on my
have
phone. This
Dr.
is Destiny
Dawn
website.
Iketu, who is
This is
from
a walkthrough
Powell,
of
is a
Destiny
Commonwealth law
website. You
expert,
ain't got to listen
and she would
none
have
of
been
this.
practicing law in
Destiny
England and
website.
Wales, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and of course throughout other Commonwealth.
This the
territories.
only purpose of this is to show Abby for sure
Now we have the
that
project team,
Spencer Blanco read.
and the project team is led
So the government just
by
regurgitating what they
SOM.
want to
I
say.
believe
What
you would have
diligence have they done? Adele,
heard
I
the
thought that the
name before in
purpose of
the
this was to give us
presentation by
further.
by Olivier, and SOM,
Look here.
who is
Me could
which
show
is a
you this here too,
company
you
that
know.
was founded
This here on
way
Destiny
back in
website though.
1936, and SOM stand for Skidmore, Owen, and Merrill, and they would have been involved in at least 1 in every 250
All of
square
this
feet built in the United
purpose
States
is just to tell
that was
Abby that
designed
Spencer
by
Blanco read.
SOM.
And I've been a Spencer
So they are an
read.
international recognized architectural consulting firm. They
None
would
of
have
this
been
is new
involved
information.
as well with the World Trade Center. This is a depiction of the Jeddah Coastal and Central Urban Master Plan. They would have done that. They would have
I
done
don't
the Chicago
understand.
Millennium Park Master Plan.
So
have
far,
vast
is this enough
experience
of
in
a
these
performance
types of
from the
developments.
concerned citizens movement?
SOM
I-
have been associated with the AIA,
I'm not
which is
gonna
the
lie.
American Institute of
The
Architects.
videos what I started have been getting
They
good
have
at them.
over 10,000 projects
This
in over 50
currently what we're
countries,
seeing here. This is
and
it up?
they have been around for 87 years in
What's in
innovative
the website?
designs, and they have over 2.2 thousand
Shouldn't one of the
international
experts
design awards.
have been there? Somebody from the finance team and somebody
The
from the
project team
design
also
team.
include WSP, which is a globally recognized professional service firm, which is a civil engineering infrastructure firm, and they would have been around as well from since 1959.
But not.
We have
Well, you see,
RLD.
one is
Rydell,
words
Bucknell,
and the next one is
and
giants.
they are
That's a
the firm
different
that will be doing the cost
circumstance.
estimating on this project. We have Marine Engineering coastal engineering
all
firm,
of this
HR
information
Wallingford,
is on
and they
the
too would have
Destiny
been involved
website.
in marine engineering globally.
I'm not being critical.
Marina
I'm
Projects,
simply asking an
and
open
Marina Projects
question.
was founded in 2002,
By giving us a
and they would have
walkthrough
been involved in
of the
significant
Destiny
marine projects
website,
globally.
is this
We have
performance
Deborah
so far?
Brunson, who is an advisor,
I would
and
assume there's
Deborah
more.
Brunson and Associates is a
It's
global
good enough to quell
science and strategic firm
the
that works with,
concerns of
the
the
surrounding giants. We
landowners,
have
and besides the landowners, the working class.
Inc.
Has anything been
and
said
they
so far,
also have been involved
besides
in
the promise of many thousands of
civil
jobs,
engineering work
to
throughout
suggest that the
similar
working
projects such as
class
these?
is being addressed so far at this town hall? All
This
of this is
a
capital.
depiction of what the site plan would look like. It's somewhat an aerial view, and this would give you an idea as to what the outcome of the project would look like. These are some design principles that they are working with, and one of the design principles that they are working with is to design with nature. They also would be designing with one of the designing principles as a family-oriented neighborhood, and also they would be designing
going
with
through everything that
resiliency in
Mr.
mind.
Johnson said.
And finally, they would
Why did
be
we
designing
have to
with,
watch a
flexibility. And
15-minute
flexibility
video
basically gives you
if he was
some
gonna come
alternative
back
options when it
simply
comes to the
to
site.
summarize
This
everything
is what
in the
you would see
15-minute video?
as
Does
existing land.
let me ask a different
Vertically, you can
question.
see that the coast is eroding.
So far,
You can
by
see that
this
there is
performance,
virtually
does
only
the government
vegetation in that
seem
site.
like they are prepared?
This is
And
the master plan, and the
I
master
would
plan
also say,
is subdivided in 4 zones. We
I
have
would
zone
also
1,
say,
zone 2, zone 3,
doesn't
4,
this
5, and 6. 6 zones.
this gonna come down to the questions? Based
This
off of
is
this presentation so far,
an ocean
for
view
us
of
to
what
get
you would
any
see if you were
traction,
looking at the development
this
from
is
the
gonna
ocean
come
side.
down to the questions that are asked by the landowners and the working
These are
class
some
at
depiction and architectural rendering
this town
of
hall
what the
here tonight.
residential neighborhoods would look
Because
like.
we're not getting anything different than Destiny website. Does anybody have anything that they would like to hear about?
So this
One
will
of the
give you
things
an
I was
idea
wondering
as
about,
to
Mr.
what
Jansen said that if you have land in the area, you don't have to sell the land. When we are looking at these renderings, suppose you got a land right in the middle of where they want to do this project. How are they going to do the project without acquiring your land?
Let's go through the various
And when you look at the scale of this project, how are you? Suppose somebody got like 20 acres in the middle of this. How is this going to proceed without those 20 acres? I need to understand those
you will have
logistics.
certain amenities. You have a health facility, you have some shared amenities, you have some retail shops, and you have
This is a
hot
massive
springs.
piece of coastline.
In the second zone, you will also have some clubhouses, you will have some cafe, you will also have
this
some
is new
retail,
information.
outlets along the coast. In the third zone, you will have some additional retail facilities. You would also have some shared amenities, some playgrounds, some clubhouses.
The hot springs were NRP involved in them, and nobody hot spring in there.
Hotel resort. You will have green spaces, park, cricket field, clubhouse.
Wow.
In the fifth zone, you will have a marina. And I want to pause there on the marina for a moment. As you know, that Nevis is a circular island, and we do not really have any natural inland area.
Indeed.
For
Our coastline is not a blessed
creating a
coastline
marina
at all.
there in this area, and it will be in this zone.
For
They are
anybody
also
who want to know
proposing to
that,
have
you
a
need
number of hotels,
protrusions.
1,
You need
2,
your coastline to be jagged
3
in order
hotels
to
in
be
this
able to
area.
have marinas. It's
In
one of the reasons
zone
why
6,
Africa
they are
suffers.
also hoping to have some clubhouses.
Not jagged enough.
and some
you want natural
stargazing
peninsula.
pavilions
That's why they
and
passed it.
the
That's why they
likes.
don't want to sell Wilberforce.
This is just another
Well, as I said,
illustration of
that's a
what this type of
question
building will
that
look like.
needs to be asked at this. But once again, that is a question that only affect. Well, right now, that question would affect
This is the
the
view from
landowners.
the ocean side.
Yeah, middle. That's what I say. Oh, but they know about the hot springs. Indeed,
Now,
I'm telling you, the
let
hot
us
springs
look
in there.
at the marina for
Marina
a
district.
moment.
These people are gonna carve
The
out
Destiny Marina and coastline designed to be an
a
active
marina.
and vibrant edge between the land and the Caribbean Sea. As I said earlier, we do not have any natural inland area to construct any marina, so they will be hoping to create this.
Indeed, artificial. The word for that
as
is
part of
artificial.
Destiny. You will have at the front an oceanarium.
This
and
is
a
new
coastal center.
information.
You will have a
So it
cafe and
only took us
restaurant.
about
You will have a
45 minutes
Marina
to get some
District
new
Hotel.
information.
You are hoping to have a yacht club, a marina offices, sailing club.
Wow.
They will also create a beach in this area and also a number of residences along the circumference of the marina area.
Smack in the middle of the price and someone don't want to sell it. Yes, that's why the SSC law was passed, so they can grab those lands by him. Well, this is one thing I need to clear for people. You don't need the SSC Act for eminent domain, no? The Constitution give you the power to deal with eminent domain. So that is not really a concern with the SSZ.
By the ocean. And we are expecting that Destiny will do a number of things in this area. One of the things that they are hoping to do is to do some reef
when I am looking, because I have been trying to understand how much land are these people intending to get. And based off what I am seeing,
4.5 miles of coastline and beach
that mangrove swamp that they are speaking about is before you reach the lighthouse now.
In the gut areas.
Car is really you pop out by the road when you're going by the lighthouse.
But the critical thing for them in
and you end with swamp.
Coastal reef
and that land they look like it gonna stretch all the way to about just before Handley's Road. That no Handley's Road there?
Insisted on is
that they look like Handley's
for them
Road
to
there.
be able to provide their own water. In essence, they will not necessarily be having
And look there, them man are gonna create lakes.
Infrastructure on the island of Nevis. They will provide a water treatment plant, and as you know, and those persons who know the area, we have some very large guts in the area. The aim is that the water from
I could
those
see
guts
how
will be
them
captured,
man are
they
gonna
will
make
be
their lake there,
treated, and they
Sean.
will use that water for their own purposes. Also, in terms of their energy, we expect that they will be able to.
I would like to let the people know something about when got the water run down to the sea.
What we call
in my understanding of
canopy,
science and nature and them type of thing, those got water those carry nutrients down to the sea.
Will be able to be placed in strategic areas
But
to capture
I don't know.
And ensure
The
that there
EIA
is
will deal
renewable
with that.
energy to power this development. We do not expect that they will be having any impact as well, or little impact on our energy infrastructure. However, because of the requirement of the energy, they are proposing that they would be able to partner with the Nevis Island Administration to help develop our geothermal project. Because this is a development that they are proposing to be an environmentally friendly development, and the geothermal energy would be also beneficial to them.
Resilience.
Okay.
We are expecting that they would be doing their architectural and engineering design to meet the necessary earthquake and hurricane standards. As you are aware right now, there is a Category 5 hurricane that is onslaught in Jamaica. We are expecting that their design would be able to withstand those type of weather phenomenon. They would be able to withstand our periodic earthquakes and hurricanes.
One of the things what I would like to know, nutrient is not good for sea life. Hence the ways in Sagas, and we should capture water for farm. Okay. See, Kado, you could show me vibes. My understanding was that it does carry nutrients down to the ocean, but could be wrong.
We now go to the economic impact.
Or the money.
And
no, to the capital owners.
That the economic impact will be threefold: direct, indirect, and induced economic impact.
Okay.
The total economic impact of the proposed development between 2026 and 2036 for the island of Nevis is proposed to be approximately $34 billion. For the island of St. Kitts, they are projecting that there will be an $18 billion on the island of St. Kitts, with a total of $52 billion total economic output within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. For total GDP supported for the island of Nevis, they are projecting 19 billion, for St. Kitts 11 billion, a total of 30 billion. For total job years supported, and I just wanted to highlight that this is projected between the period of 2026 to 2036, over a 10-year period. For the total job years supported for the island of Nevis.
Ladies and gentlemen, if them man you make them projection here for 2026, that's not an indication that this thing don't sign?
And giving a total of 310,000. Total
$34 billion
for the island of Nevis projected to be 1.7 billion.
Wow.
And on St. Kitts,
I'm stunned right now.
A total of 2.5 billion. The annual
I said before that this Destiny Project Bitcoin people, once they have the link, the Destiny Project geothermal involved. Well, Bola also want to pay attention to the fact that they talk about like that they have to go to Parliament. I'm not saying that they don't have to go to Parliament, but when they go to Parliament is when I sign agreement,
that will be 1.7 billion. And for
the seems so.
$1 billion. Total jobs
well, I could tell you,
under the period 17,
I don't see any government who gonna be running from $34 billion
just over 10,000
by 2026.
Tax generated.
They're basically saying we're gonna be making $3 billion a year.
Approximately 75 million for the island of St. Kitts, giving a total of $225 billion. $million. The economic impact for the construction, according to the plans provided by Destiny, total construction
already
spending
saying already they're
is
expecting to complete. Listen.
billion.
Another reason why make me say the deal already saying this man is already in the end of the video asking people, businesses, people who want jobs to inquire how we moving forward and telling people, well, come, we're going to build this thing. If this thing ain't already a done deal, it seems to be a done deal.
For a total, they are projecting approximately 680 million. And that is the total
all of them figures, yeah?
Nevis. For the total GDP supported, they are projecting
you see these millions of dollars?
And
you're telling me
job supported, they are projecting 3,800. And for the total tax,
you know what's amazing about this project?
Million.
Have we heard up to now how long this project is going to take to complete? But along with the financial exposure that the government faces, if the deal fails because of them, I think we all know what will happen if a person does not sell their land.
Presentation by Mr. Jensen.
It is important to hear that though, because what has been portrayed is that if you do not want to sell, you don't have to sell. It's your right to have land, and they respect your rights as a landowner.
Strong performance or KPIs. Comment there.
Those,
we can now
that final part of the presentation.
Thank you very much.
That final part of the presentation, ladies and gentlemen,
Minister Brand,
was for the capital owners and the landowners.
Before we start asking the question, rules of engagement. Yes, rules of engagement.
Spencer don't even understand why.
You to be respectful.
The last part there was really for the financial
anger,
people.
No animus, nothing at all.
Okay.
And of
course, okay. Wow. You had to ask your question without emotion.
It gets us nowhere. We will start with Dr. Daly. All right. We'll start with you.
Wow. Dr. Daly is at the mic. Dr. Daly is on the mic. Let us see what we have.
Good evening. As the moderator indicated, my name is Kelvin Royston Daly, Dr. Kelvin Royston Daly, spelled D-A-L-Y, not D-A-L-L-Y.
Wow.
First, let me first join in wishing our friends and family in Jamaica all the best. The storm is now advanced to 200 miles an hour.
Daly say he named Nagatina Aibo.
Let me say first.
He gonna be nightly, no?
I have lived in the United States for 15 years. 15 long years. Always made to feel that they did not belong. That the U.S. was never my home. I have one home.
It is important.
Nevis. And I never
Minister Carlisle. Anybody see Carlisle?
That I will be faced with the possibility that I will become, in my lifetime, a minority on Nevis.
Wow.
That is serious business. So while we are here pontificating about all these wonderful projects and jobs, I would prefer to live in a hut as a free man than in a mansion as a slave.
Dr. Daly, please, questions, please.
You take it easy.
No. Questions, please.
Okay. Well, how this gonna go if Daly ain't get out a question?
Give your prelude. Don't rush me.
No.
Don't rush me.
There are others who
Daly got to come.
And they will have their time. You took up all this time with this slideshow. Nobody wanted.
Dr. Daly. Questions, please. Questions.
I feel like Daly got to maintain the composure right now.
Question.
Yes, please.
My questions are to my good friend Troy Liebert. All my questions are to you. Mr. Troy Liebert, you were once a student of mine at Sixth Form in Charleston. You were a member of the LIDC debating competition, and I was your coach. I have a question for you. 2 questions, 3 questions actually. Let me get my glasses.
I feel like they lose the composure so far. We're going to go get some good questions.
You, Mr. Liebert, was the Minister of Communications and Works, which includes oversight of the Department of Physical Planning. From 2017 to present, if you're too stupid to understand, just shut up.
Excuse me, Doc, listen. Please. All right? If you're going to go there, be disrespectful, we're going to can ask you. Please.
See? This is one of the
Quickly,
things
please. There are others who want to
that
ask
I
questions.
would like to
Quickly,
know.
please.
Mr. Liebert,
Quickly.
do you understand or do you know the term libertarianism? Yes. You've heard it. One thing that was missing from the presentation this evening is any mention of who these people are. We know their bios and all that. But do you know that these people are libertarians? And do you know what the objectives are? I'm going to finish asking the question. Let's take notes. What is their goal, these libertarians? I will leave you to answer that. My second question to you, Mr. Liebert. As a former Minister of Public Works, Communications and Works, do you support the exclusion of physical planning, essentially having it replaced by the Premier's hand-picked oversight body to monitor zone development? Please explain your answer to that. And my last question. As a member of the cabinet, Mr. Liebert, I assume you have had the opportunity to examine in detail the development agreement. Mr. Liebert, could you share with us your understanding of what is the penalty for the
Hold on,
break the agreement and stop the development? The penalty has been referred to as a nuclear option, a mutually assured destruction. Are you, Mr. Liebert, in favor of this nuclear option being signed into law? The development agreement, Mr. Liebert, speaks to a population of 7,000 to 10,000 in the first instance. Deep concerns over voting rights have been expressed, to which the Premier has indicated his intention to take legislative action to change the Constitution, thereby denying their right to vote. Are you in agreement, Mr. Liebert, with any changes to the Constitution preventing any group of citizens their rights to vote? Thank you very much.
All right.
I'm trying to understand what's the goal of asking these to try, though. I'm trying to understand what's the goal of asking these to try. Am I missing an angle? Why would these questions be directed to try? Anybody knows why that would be the case? What's the strategy there? And how y'all feel about the question? Once again, I'm looking for the working class. I think one of the questions was about libertarianism. I think
so Dr. Daly, you have addressed all of your questions to me, but of course, I wouldn't have all the answers to all of your questions. First of all, we do not know the full background of all of the persons who are the developers.
That's a bad answer by Chai. That's a bad answer by Chai. That's a bad answer by Chai.
These developers, of course.
That's a bad answer by Chai.
Here in Nevis, so we're not going to know the full background of all of them. Okay?
That is a bad answer by Chai.
Whether somebody is a libertarian or something else, I cannot answer that question. Okay? Of course, people have gone online to Google different things, and that's up to them. What we have in front of us is development, and what we have to do is to assess that development based on the merits of that development. We have to look at it as a cabinet that's here to look out for the best interests of the people of Nevis, and what we have to look for in any development is to ensure that the development is going to be good for the people of Nevis. So that is what we are here to do.
Okay. Chai gets on claps. But that was not a good answer.
As the Premier would have said in his opening remarks, we have not yet signed anything. We are not at that point yet, Dr. Daly. We are at the point where we are assessing the development. When we get to that point, then certainly all of the agencies who need to be involved will be involved. That is my best answer for you, Dr. Daly. What the other question?
Anyone has anything else to add? Any member of cabinet has anything else to add?
I think you would have asked something about voting rights or some sort of change to the
population too. The population.
Physical planning.
7,000 people.
I think I just addressed that when I said that when we get to that point, you know, all of the necessary agencies that have to be involved will be involved when we get to that point.
That's, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a good answer.
You can, what you said,
you can't just change the constitution later down. This got to be something what we're talking about now.
Constitutional change and so on. We have not contemplated constitutional change.
Okay.
What is different with this project and any other project, based on the legislation that was passed federally for the SSZ, is that for this particular zone to be approved, it has to first be approved in the Parliament in Nevis, the House of Assembly, and then also in the Parliament on St. Kitts. So there are discussions that are ongoing with the AG's office and with other agencies on St. Kitts, insofar as these voting rights are concerned.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me be very clear that there is no expectation or anticipation that anybody living in this zone will have the right to vote. This does not involve a constitutional amendment, because we vote by virtue of the legislation that deals with that, which I believe is the National Assembly Elections Act. What is proposed at this point is to have the necessary amendments done to the National Assembly Elections Act. And that act, if you're familiar with it, makes certain provisions as to who can vote, and the relevance of who can vote deals with who is registered and where they can be registered. This, and I want to step back a moment from this particular project. Whilst this project has sort of been a catalyst for a lot of public debate, St. Kitts and Nevis already has, by some tallies, well over 50,000 citizens who are economic citizens across the globe. And the truth is that until now, we have not tackled the question of whether or not those 50,000+ people can vote in St. Kitts and Nevis. So the reality then is that on the existing understanding, those individuals have the same rights as you and I. Those individuals can at any point in time decide to descend on St. Kitts and Nevis, buy property, vote, do whatever else they would like to do as citizens. And so what has happened here, because this particular project is proposed, it has forced the federal government now, because voting is handled at that level, it is not a local NIA matter, to now contemplate what really ought to happen in relation to economic citizens. What, more specifically, what is to happen in relation to zone residents, if indeed such a zone were to be approved and were to happen on the island of Nevis or on the island of St. Kitts, because this legislation is federal in nature. So the intention is that these individuals will have no rights to vote, and what we need to do is fashion the necessary legislation to make that clear. There is one other provision, it hasn't been asked about, but let me just tell you now, that we had a concern about people who are in the zone being able to purchase land outside the zone. And we have also said emphatically that there could be no cross-pollination, so to speak. So if you're in the zone, you will not be allowed to purchase real estate outside the zone. The reason for that is we felt that
but doesn't the developer already own land outside the zone?
Then they could well drive
because
up
he's saying that
prices
you could also
and
swap
make
land.
land outside less accessible.
So doesn't he already have land outside the zone?
Those two are two very important aspects of
And
what we have said.
how realistic does everybody feel that there will be 7,000 to 10,000 people living in Nevis who do not have the right to vote? How people feel about that?
Legislation that deals specifically with voting.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I don't have the mic. Sir, we go by a show of hands. Someone has the mic here, please. Okay. A follow-up question, quickly.
No, but perhaps you didn't understand me. Perhaps you didn't understand the point I was trying to make. So, it is not a question
smart
of
comments
whether
there.
other zones...
As much as Daily look bad when he do certain things, then smart comments there is not going to help the premier tonight.
Well, maybe you're misleading me.
The sarcasm is not something what the premier needs to try to be doing tonight.
Anywhere in Nevis can be considered a zone. I was confused then because you said on your program that you did not have any land in the zone. So when you came back and you said that anywhere can be declared a zone, well, that didn't add up. I started thinking, well, anywhere could be declared a zone, but just not on your land. You know, I mean, these are things that come and go and we don't understand. And if we don't understand, we don't understand. When we ask questions, it's for us to understand so that we could make an informed decision.
I understand. You can help? Okay.
Good night.
Excuse me, in orderly manner, we are answering this question, please, and then you'll be given the opportunity. And we have...
I feel like anybody gonna ask Eric a question tonight? Do y'all feel like the deputy premier is gonna be needed tonight in any capacity?
The special authorization zone create a framework for any individual, any developer, anybody to apply to either the Nevis Island administration or to the federal government to create a particular zone. There are, of course, certain requirements that they must meet.
Listen, Jetty,
right?
I must say,
and once they are able to, perhaps
they get the mic first.
Then the government can make a determination.
So at least somebody from NRB get to ask the first question.
That particular request. So it is not necessarily fair to say that there can either be one zone, or if somebody is in this zone, they can have another zone somewhere, right? The legislation create the framework for...
That's what the man choice said. So somebody else in the zone could get another zone somewhere else. So you can't say that they can't buy land outside of the zone. Listen, this is not going
Javid,
well. This is not going
please.
well.
Hi, good night, everyone.
1, 2. Then it tells me that then these people can...
Okay, boom, got the mic. See a young man got the mic.
You ask your question, Mr. Manners. We are trying to get everybody involved. I'll come back to you. Mr. Manners.
Good night, everyone.
Exactly. Come on.
A special good night to the panel that we have up here right now for coming out and listening our issues that we have to hear. My name is Javid Pemberton. As Mr. Wakely said, my good ex-coach.
Javid Pemberton. Boom.
My name is Javid Pemberton. I am a urban and regional planner I don't have a doctorate yet like Mr. Daly, but hopefully someday I'll reach there. So as a urban planner, as an urban and regional planner, I don't get so uncomfortable. I don't have that discomfort when I see new development. I actually get excited. So please don't kill me for being excited when I see development. It's just a second nature in me as a planner. So I'm only here to find out certain questions like the implications and the implementations of the project. So I have just 6 questions.
6?
Six.
Wow.
Short questions.
Wow.
Very
Okay.
short questions.
All right. Keep it tight, please. Keep it tight.
Yeah. So Minister Brand mentioned how important in his prayer this is. Mr. Brand mentioned how important in his prayer this is as a matter of...
Excuse me, please. Respect the gentleman who is speaking. It is rude and it's going live worldwide. Please. Please.
The moderator ain't moderating right.
Mr. Daniel, let me try to command the room myself.
All
right? So, a matter of high national interest like this, right? We spoke earlier about constitution and laws and legislation, but I know that there is only 2 principal contexts in which something like a referendum can be done. And it's when you want to amend the constitution or if you want to secede from, I think it's 2 things. So taking that into consideration, have you ever thought of doing a referendum just to gauge public opinion and how the public feel about the whole project?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
I find it funny because you guys clapping for me and I do not have the same sentiment as most people. I find it funny. But anyway, my next question is, do you think that $50 million over 5 years is enough to invest in our infrastructure, especially because we don't have an accurate dollar amount to what the 5% be and the 20% be? We don't have an exact figure to say we're going to get that other than the 50 million and the 1 million scholarship. We don't have an exact figure to work with because like 100% of 0 is how much? So yeah, so if we could get like a dollar amount to what we're working with, I would feel a lot more comfortable.
I
saw Minister Brand brought up some figures earlier. I think that's the first time I ever saw figures. So that made me feel a little better. In the video shown earlier, the guy, Mr. Jensen, spoke about a new technology to be created to distribute the funds. Do you know yet what kind of technology that is? The 4th question.
That gonna be blockchain technology.
When we find out.
I could tell you know.
At what stage in the development will payments be done to the country and its citizens, and how frequent? Like quarterly, annually?
What do you mean divisions? You're buying from a private individual and are not allowed?
In the SSZ Act, it does not include a section that explicitly requires members or the managers of the zone authority or the zone management entity. It doesn't have any requirements for them to have any specific academic and professional requirements like environmental science, engineering, finance, urban planning, public administration. And I think that there should be qualified persons in those specialized fields to manage the authority for this zone's critical success.
It's going to be some kind of blockchain.
And the last, well, that was more of a comment than a question. Yeah. The last one is there a limited percentage of land in Nevis that can be turned into a SSZ or a number amount of how many different zones that it could be on the island? So basically, is there a cap on the total area in Nevis that will allow to be a special zone? Is there a cap on that? And at the same time, my train of thought rolled me to a cap on the amount of people. I think they had 11,000 something people there. Is that a cap? Is that's where they're starting from? That's my questions. And see how I command the room very easily? Good night, everyone.
You check? He ain't had to do like Mr. Daniel. Look, the rest of man in front. Oh, the man put the rest of man them in front tonight, man.
We'll answer these questions. And folks,
the man said that the premier said that
going forward, because I understand that there's so many of you have questions that you need to ask.
First preference.
We are going to limit it to 2 questions per person. And if we come back around, right, then you'll get a second chance. But for now, 2 questions, please, per person. We have a lot of questions that persons want to ask, so please.
Them man have only been answering questions for 20 minutes, and we don't reach the portion of this where you're limited to the amount of questions we ask. So you got to ask your best question.
Stapleton, you did ask about the $50 million. And of course, this is a consultation, and so we are welcoming suggestions from you and members of the public. Of course, we showed what they have decided to give on the screen.
The Minister of
But
Finance
if you're thinking that $50 million is not enough, and you think that we should go back and renegotiate, we are, of course, open to suggestions. So if you have a figure in mind, we are open to hearing that figure that you think that we should accept.
This, ladies and gentlemen.
In terms of you asked about a cap, the last question you asked about a cap, there is no cap in terms of the population. I know the presentation made reference to 7,000 to 10,000 people. The bill or the act from Parliament doesn't specify any cap for the population, and the bill does not specify any cap in terms of the number of acres either. It does not also specify any cap in terms of the number of zones that can be applied in Nevis or in St. Kitts.
Hello? Hey, yes. So I think it's very important for the security of
I do not understand why Eric was answering that.
For those 2 specific things.
Another thing I would say.
A cap in terms of what? The population or the acreage?
Eric, and it seemed like the coaching tonight said that you only could say what the last said. I would like everybody to understand. In these negotiations, you could negotiate and say, hey, the amount of people over here ain't gonna get over X amount. You could absolutely do that.
So
otherwise, how we know that this thing is not gonna be ever expanding?
And it's a popular idea, but very little gets done in any country that
the
is
premier
governed by way of referendum.
does not want to hear from the working class people.
How
this man gonna say that we don't want the referendum?
There were groans in other quarters. I feel that where you have issues such as this, where you have proposals such as this, then part of what we're doing is to engage as we're doing, to consult as we're doing.
I do not understand how you could
say or nay to a development or any project for that matter
against
by going to a referendum takes us into a particular
referendum is
methodology of governance, which personally I feel will end up meaning paralysis in terms of the country moving forward. Now, I hear some chatter in the crowd.
I disagree with this.
And I will just say
disagree with
our
this.
democracy is set up in a particular
A referendum give you a mandate to go forward with a particular action.
Periodic intervals.
And if you don't get the numbers required, then you have to work even harder to get the people, to convince the people. I disagree
the government, with this or they want a change in direction. That's why we have elections. And so to have, please, can I finish the comment? Can I finish the comment? our constitutional construct currently,
I
as
do
you
not
rightly
feel
pointed out,
like this is a
David,
good thing.
really only speaks to referenda in specific situations. So for us to now go down a road where we say, okay, a proposal has come, let's put that to referendum. Okay, geothermal. How do we determine what decisions go to referendum and what do not?
Major decisions. Major decision. We could say that if you want to go forward with a project that's gonna have a big social, economic impact,
okay,
that we're gonna do it. Boom is correct. Boom is correct. The Premier is arguing
there are
against
various ways, I
democracy
think, to gather
actively
public opinion.
right now.
There's polling, there's all of that. Referenda normally would happen when there's a decision to be made. So referenda would normally, yes or no. Do we legalize marijuana? Yes or no. Do we go this direction? Yes or no. That generally is what a referendum seeks to do. And all I'm saying is, to govern by referendum can lead to paralysis, because what the Caribbean has shown whenever referenda have been engaged in, the referendum tends to fall along political lines. That tends to be the
If you
case.
fail
And
in
so,
a referendum,
that's
you
why
have to
governments
go
are
back
elected.
to the
Governments are
people to
elected to govern.
convince them of what you are trying to portray. This is against democracy. This is against the working class. How the hell you gonna tell me having a referendum is
Ultimate
not
game
good?
changer for Nevis. And obviously, I think that you would be remiss if you didn't say that this is probably the most sensitive matter that is being discussed in Nevis right now, or has come in our entire generation. We're giving away 2,400 acres of land. So I have a question. I do not agree with the SSZ Act. I do not agree with Destiny SSZ. What I would like to know is, what would
My
it
thinking
take for you
divisions is
to
that
accept
them
that
man
the people
contradict
of Nevis
everything one
do
marks.
not want either? So is it us getting 51% of the voters' cards and people registering that they do not want it? Is it 51% of the census population? What would it take for you to accept that the people don't want it? My second question is, have you been approached by another entity to establish another SSZ? And I clarified it to say an entity that came to you prior to the act, had discussions with you, and then came back after the act was established. Is there a history of that?
Ball, here what my argument be. You not got to go to Parliament to facilitate the referendum, no?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the question.
You got to tell the people what you do and organize them and let them know this is the date when we're going to do it. This, let me tell you, this ain't even got to be nothing with no polling station. Electronic. This could be an electronic referendum.
I feel that we should speak for ourselves, because I speak to people every day, and the people that I speak to every day aren't necessarily saying the things that some other people are saying. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, people have different viewpoints on matters. So
That's why it's important to have the referendum.
That when we speak for ourselves. And we give our opinions, whatever those opinions are.
These smart comments are not going to help the Premier right now.
Can I
he does not have the leverage.
He's answering. Let
he
him
does
answer,
not have the leverage.
Lauren, please.
I am simply.
Good night, Chef.
I am simply saying that
it's happening.
A little presumptuous of us when we talk about what the people want. And so, please, I listen to you. I'm trying to respond. So, okay. So let me just say that insofar as public engagement and public discussion is concerned, the project or no project is a matter for the government. That is why governments are elected. That is why
you hear this? You hear this? The people ain't got no say.
Let me
and
respond.
This is one of the things what I want to know.
Prepared, ladies and
are
gentlemen,
we ready to change the system so that the people got more of a say? in
that
these things.
no government,
Is this
no
how
government
democracy should work?
anywhere in the world will ever, certainly no democratic government, will ever have the support of everyone. And governments must lead. That's why they're elected. They must consult, they must listen, but ultimately they have to lead. They have to make decisions. In the great United States right now, America voted for a president. Some like it, some don't like it. What must he do? He must not govern because some people don't like his ideas. That is why we live in something called democracy. Now, if you prefer another system of government, then you can perhaps agitate for that. But in this system of government that we have, there is, again, something called an election. That is where Tutmun Saman Bagai
do we want to continue this system?
As to who.
Does
there
there
been
need to be some changes
in the past
to
that I
this
have not agreed
system
with,
that we currently
but
have?
they had a right to govern because that's who the people said they want there. That's democracy. So we can't have it both ways. Now, in relation to this other entity, absolutely. We have had an approach from at least 2 entities who have come forward. We have not engaged with them other than to hear what they have to say. But 2 other entities have said that they would have an interest in establishing a special zone on Nevis. And I think that brings us to the point, Javid, that is so critical of carrying capacity. Like, what do we do in terms of these various applications that may come? And I think that the answer to that is really provided by what Minister Brand said. Ultimately, it is for government to decide whether we have 1, whether we have none, or whether we have 100. It is ultimately for the government to decide that. And so the legislation currently, doesn't have, as Minister Evelyn pointed out, any particular provision. But
That's
that is
another
why,
thing.
again, government has that
That's another
flexibility.
thing. Referendum allows the people to participate more
that
fully.
is the current situation,
As I'm saying,
in
this
terms of
referendum could be electronic. I don't know if I just get them. I don't get texts and email from Inland Revenue about land tax. So they got information. We could do a referendum right now.
The provision of this SSZ Act provides that for any such application,
from a start to say the most important people in the Nevis right now are the working class.
it must be approved and
Does the working class feel like the system is working for them?
also must go to the federal parliament for ratification.
Should people be
I believe that
consulted
there are
when these decisions are made? We change our system slightly.
some protective guardrails.
That's
that
why
are in
I
place
say for the longest
that if
time
it
we
is
need a reformer.
that the government
We
of
need
the
to
day
change some of
say that
these
they are
laws.
interested in such a zone, and when you get to Parliament give a different position on the matter, it dies in the Parliament.
I want to add, I know people are waiting, so let me be quick. I want to just add this to what Spencer said. You know, we have had this debate that has been raging in terms of zones and all of that. But I will say this is the first time in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis that any development agreement has to be made public. The very first time. We have lived in this country for 35 years with the 4 seasons. None of us have seen the 4 seasons agreement. Christoph Harbour,
I am so happy that the Premier mentioned this. All of this is why I asked.
Ladies and
Even me saying we have never seen these agreements. Should we see these agreements?
Has to be made public.
Should we hear more about these agreements? Should we understand the duty-free specs and all these type of things?
I think that as we talk about transparency, we talk about openness. This is the very first time that by law this is being mandated. No zone can be created unless this goes through a parliamentary process. And I just wanted to make that point.
Okay, we have the young chap here in blue. Yes.
Yes, after that, I hope that we get a lot of
everyone.
information.
My name is Jolie France, and I have a question. So if the requirements are not met to fulfill this project, including the budget going overboard and the reefs not restored, do you have a plan B, and what is your solution? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the question, young Mackie. It's good to see you. The question of is if there's a plan B, what the agreement is seeking to do is to build in penalties and performance damages and that kind of thing. So we are definitely trying to work through those types of issues. What happens if after a year these developers say, you know what, we aren't interested in bothering with this project? What happens in those circumstances? We have a lot of examples on the island of projects that started and have not finished. So
many
how
examples.
do you deal with that? And so one of the things that we're seeking to do is to learn from those experiences where there were no controls in place. There were no penalties, there were no anything. And so now to say to these developers, listen, if, as you say, you don't do what you're supposed to do, what are the consequences of that? So that's part of the negotiations that we're involved in now. But that's an excellent question that you've asked, and I'm happy to see someone so young asking such an excellent question.
I mentioned to the people that the penalties was not a part of the deal with the MSR, and that turned out to be an issue. Even though the premier said we got movies, we were supposed to get 35 of them.
I'll come to
and
you,
we got
don't worry.
9.
Hello.
See what documents you have with these people thus far. Indeed. If we're going to get real transparency, it's not just Parliament we want. We need to know.
Share with you, if it's possible, in this scenario.
No, he has not spoken about the potential damages yet.
Because without the solid water infrastructure in sync with physical development and planning activities, this amazing project is only a dream. Why is that? Because water security on the climate change is not an option, it's fundamental. The 2021 St. Kitts and Nevis climate summary from the Caribbean Institute of Hydrology and Meteorology gives us a clear
Oh my God. This man has sound like he no information.
Extreme heat it will increase 15 times over historical records. The hot season could become almost year-round. And
Ball, everybody wait for that question.
Rainfalls.
Everybody wait for the 23 billion.
Storms will continue, will grow more strong, amplifying both flash floods.
This gentleman, I don't know him. This is a scientist. The panel is not ready for this question.
Under which our island is right now, and the water stress on the climate change is imminent throughout 2100. So this is a first warning, and I want to emphasize something.
He don't even ask a question. He says something what I am guaranteeing you. The panel does not know.
Water stress,
understand.
utilizing factual statistics. According to FAO and UNESCO, and in the 2014 water footprint assessment, St. Kitts and Nevis is endowed with 444 cubic meters of fresh water per capita per year. And by contrast, a NIA statistical report in 2020 average consumptions of 144 cubic meters.
This is a gentleman who has studied water tables, ladies and gentlemen. The panel ain't got nothing for this. This is the kind of research when we don't go to the topics.
252, totaling 396 cubic meters of fresh water per capita per year, almost our entire renewable capacity consumed according to this freshwater budget. So this is under this leaving a little room for the ecosystems.
I am so happy that this gentleman is speaking.
I want to support myself with my ratings. My writing.
I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, watch out. Everybody vex.
three key points here to take into consideration. The renewable freshwater depends on rainfall to recharge perch and confined aquifers. And this foul figures relies on historical records that may be no longer reliable source under climate change. And the population consider for this consumption, for these figures is 12,227.
What desalination can see.
12,000, well, 38,400, in total 34,918 inhabitants. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir. Question.
I feel like the panel should have come out tonight prepared to go till 12 o'clock. Till 12 o'clock.
Maybe over till 12 o'clock. Is Nevis prepared for Destiny, like or will be Destiny the catalyst to prepare Nevis?
Okay, thank you.
So, but here is the thing. I think Nevis is not yet prepared for a project of Destiny's scale. But through Destiny, we can become prepared. Because it's really tedious to attract funds from international organizations to provide solutions to address the water scarcity in any small island developing states.
We also have an Instagram page. So check out the Instagram. You can see Dr. Packer Party, which was last
All right,
week.
sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. The mic, please.
This is awful. Ladies and gentlemen, this is awful.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that just now is awful.
Good evening, everybody.
The panel are not prepared
My name
to
is
come out
Pastor
tonight and serve
Wayne Maynard,
the people.
and I am
happy
for the opportunity to be able to ask questions pertaining to this very impactful project. I know, as I understand it, this project has materialized based on the acquisition, of course, of significant acreage, which would tend to mean that that property is private because it's privately owned. So one of my main questions pertaining to this project is in relation to the issue of access. And so because, again, such significant acreage has been acquired, will law enforcement, will regulatory bodies, social services have the same access to this zone as they do any other area in the island of Nevis? And will we as residents have access to this zone? I know, Mr. Premier, you mentioned that one of the justifications for not implementing a South Coast road would have been, well, why would the government invest such significant funding when the investors do it? But if the investors do it, then would we have residents would have access to that road in the same way if the government were to do it? And so the question of access is really a huge question given that the acreage is so wide. And then can things happen in that zone? Because again, it's private land that would violate our laws, that because of the significant area that we don't want to have the access, or even our law enforcement and other bodies of regulatory nature, can they then determine that laws are being violated? Because again, it is, if I understand it correctly, private land. The second question that I have is in relation to recurring revenue generation. If I understand it, this area is being considered a tax-free zone. So how is recurring revenue to be acquired by the government if it is a tax-free zone? I understand that there would be spin-offs due to, of course, arrivals. We have a larger population, whether it is access to our airports and, of course, economic spin-offs. But what is the main source of recurring revenue that the government is expecting to be able to have to make this economically viable? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Premier.
Pastor Maynard, thank you very much for your questions. The short answer to access is yes. That was one of the first points that we discussed with these proposed developers. The model that we have been discussing is really akin to the Four Seasons. You and I have access to the Four Seasons, but we recognize that there are security protocols and controls at the Four Seasons for our access. So we can decide to have a drink at the Four Seasons after this, but we will be having to go through security in order to get there into that particular resort. So that's sort of the model that we anticipate, although we did say to them that we prefer that they use technology rather than having physical barriers like the Four Seasons does. The question of revenue generation, Pastor Maynard, this is an ongoing discussion that we've been having, because naturally we want to know how the island is going to benefit long-term from this. The developers have made certain proposals to us in terms of revenue. You heard of this $50 million number. We are discussing with them joint development of the Long Point Port, which clearly would be a further investment. We are discussing with them the development of the hospital. The contemplation is that hospital development will be part of that $50 million. But the question really about if you're not paying taxes, then how is the economy going to benefit generally? And the view that certainly has been advanced by them, and the position supported by some studies done by Oxford Economics, is that the benefit to Nevis, the benefits to Nevis, and by extension, the benefits to the revenue, tax revenue that is really having to do with the activity in the economy, the wider economy. So spending, arrivals, taxes, small businesses, supermarkets, you name it. That the idea is that because the overall economy is going to develop, this becomes the catalyst for that, then revenue for the government grows accordingly. So that really is the analysis at this point. Of course, as I said, it is still a matter that is under active discussion, but the developers were very clear that insofar as they were concerned, they did not want any tax implications within the zone. Now, the first blush is to look at that and say, well, you know, that's a little abhorrent. You know, why should you not pay tax? But the response that has come is that these developers are being required by law to put in all of their infrastructure. So we heard water mentioned, and we thank the gentleman who made his comments in relation to water. They have, under the SSZ legislation, to generate their own water. They have to generate their own electricity. They have to generate and handle their own waste. So the idea really was to say to them, listen, instead of asking us,
Adel, not only that,
St.
Vincent and the Grenadines get a $500 million hotel, no SSZ.
That's coming from the island. The island has to invest in that infrastructure so that Four Seasons can get that benefit. We said to them, we cannot afford to do that, and we don't want to do that, so you must invest in your own infrastructure. So put differently, we are not having to take up taxpayer dollars to do that. So it's that kind of trade-off that we've been engaged with. There's also, in terms of ongoing revenue to the NIA, this profit share that you've heard about. It's a nebulous concept, and I'm not going to try to sugarcoat that, because clearly, as Javier put it, 100% of nothing is nothing. But these developers have said, listen, if we don't make a profit, then everybody is in trouble, because it is in our interest to make a profit on this. That we have our models, and we feel that this project is going to be very profitable.
But
now, if that happens,
the business reps
then
love this.
The NIA is guaranteed 20%. 10% by way of direct revenue, and that is in perpetuity, and 10% which goes to a sovereign wealth fund. And in addition, they have now proposed this 5% to the people of Nevis. I'm not sure how they're going to do that yet. The question was asked. The technology has not yet
they
been
must say solar energy, and that they will
we have
help
not yet
us
been
with the
advised of it.
geothermal.
So in terms of ongoing, we have the hard 50 million, we have the 20% profit, and then we have, in terms of government revenue, that is what we anticipate. And then we're looking at the overall rise in the local economy.
How does the developing an infrastructure assist us economically? That was the
broadly
question.
speaking, those are the areas of potential revenue benefit for the people.
He basically saying they're gonna help us because they're gonna have to consume from the visions. So they're gonna have to buy chicken, they're gonna have to buy mango, they're gonna have to buy etc. etc.
The administration putting in the infrastructure. We have to bear in mind as well that all of the lands over there are private lands. And if the government were to go in and put in infrastructure, the government will have to negotiate with the landowners. They'll have to purchase or
but that is also a good
acquire the
question.
land.
Will
Of
this
course, even when we are doing
zone
village roads,
qualify
widening
for
village
the
roads or the public
CBI
main
is a
road,
good
you
question.
have to negotiate with the landowners. So it's not that simple that the government can just go in and put in infrastructure on private property. So we have to bear that in mind as well. And of course the cost as well. And I just wanted to quickly respond to the gentleman with regards to the water. He raised some important issues with regards to water and climate change and so on. We have to bear in mind
These
that
were
this is a
also
sustainability zone, and the Act prescribes that they must be able to provide their own water. Right? The Act prescribes that in Section 5. And what we also have to bear in mind as well, that they have decided as to how they're going to be providing their water. We know that during the rainy season, we have a tremendous amount of water that goes into the sea, a lot of water waste. And over in the South Coast area, there are a lot of very deep guts that take a lot of water down
all of this is
into
contradictory
the sea.
to what
And
the
they
Hispanic
are
gentleman
planning
was
to
saying.
trap most of that water and be able to utilize that water in the zone. And so we recognize the issue with regards to the water, but they have a solution with regards to providing their own water by doing the trapping.
Doctor?
So gut water gonna support
Thank you.
a
Good
neighborhood
evening,
with
everyone.
10,000 people.
I had the
Just gut water.
first question before Dr. Daly, and I told him.
Okay, go ahead.
And he smiled and said, "You should have been standing." I don't believe in sexism, but I got my chance. Thank you. I have a question that I am really concerned about, because it's tangentially related to this. But as an international researcher, I am trying hard to understand how parliamentary democracies work in the Caribbean. I'm doing work on that right now, so I want to understand our parliamentary democracy here. Recently, the government took care of a malpractice medical suit that you hear rumors all over the street that they paid $2 million for this doctor's malpractice. My question is, and they're connected, are doctors in Nevis, whether GPs or specialists, all employees of the government? If so, do they have malpractice insurance, or does the government provide that insurance? If the latter is the case, as private doctors then, who the government protects through malpractice insurance, why do we as patients pay for their services, and when they harm us, as some of them do regularly, with poor practice, we have little recourse, but if we can afford to and we sue them, then the government steps in with protection for them?
The Historical and Conservation Society
Dr.
also
Carty,
supposed
thank you
to
for
be
the
at
question.
this town hall.
I think that those questions deserve their own town hall, because it's a very serious. It's a very serious matter that you've touched on. And whilst I'm disinclined tonight to get into the specifics of that situation, what I can say is that. Right.
Me not understand why we dodging this question.
Okay, well, I'm not sure. I didn't see something, but if you wrote on it. All I will say to you is this, that doctors that work with our hospital are employed to the government. And because we only have one hospital, we often have a blurring of the lines sometimes. So for example, if you see a doctor privately and you have to do surgery, then the only surgical suite available is at the Alexandra Hospital. So if that surgery is done at our hospital by a doctor who's employed to us, even though that
and I was
doctor may be
making
your
the
private
point
doctor, meaning you see them
that
in their
St.
private
Vincent
office,
is getting a
question of liability
$500
arises
million
if something goes wrong.
addition to
And so it is
Sandals.
not
No
an easy
SSZ
answer.
required.
The solution, I feel, is to have insurance. But that in and of itself is a rather expensive solution. So, well, the question is of who will have to pay for that insurance? Because again, if it is that they're employed to us and they're working at our hospital. And the problem, Dr. Carty, and I don't mean to belabor it, but the problem sometimes is a lot of doctors that we have could be elsewhere. So they could be elsewhere. And so because they could be elsewhere, we are sometimes in a situation where we are trying to hold on to doctors. You know, specialists especially are incredibly difficult to hold on to. So we have that ongoing dilemma. But as I said, we may have to have a different forum to discuss that because I think it's a very, very important issue. But I see hands are all over on the SSC, so we'll have to come back.
That was,
yes,
listen,
folks, might I
that was a
remind
good
you,
dodge.
please, exclusively about the SSC and the project. Yeah, I do understand that you have a lot of questions, but perhaps on another town hall we can address them. But please, focused questions, please. Focused questions.
More than 5 years to build Destiny completely. Look at Christopher
evening,
Harbour.
all.
Many lots
Question,
over this. Same thing I'm saying, Mr. Mills. I have not heard anybody speaking about how far this is going to take.
They are saying that they would help with the hospital, or help with the hospital. The question is whether we are talking about the failed project of the wing of the hospital or a movement forward on the hospital.
What? I didn't see that.
That's
that
the first question.
Which means the spin-off revenue is government is banking
The other question
and is likely to never arrive.
Going back to the citizens.
The Premier himself described the spin-off,
They're saying that all the
at least the profit
the members,
as nebulous.
The settlers
That is not a
would
good
be
word.
citizens by investment. No, we're not saying that. Nobody has said that. No.
Okay. But we want to know if they're going to qualify for CBI. That's a good question. We need to hear the CBI question. Will they qualify for CBI? This is supposed to go till 12 o'clock. There is no minister supposed to reach home until 3 o'clock, and they're supposed to be soaked down wet and still got press conference in the morning.
So the hospital project is...
Why is General Nisbet here?
The wing and
is anybody
the
going to
overall
ask General
development of
Nisbet
our
a question?
healthcare facilities on the island.
Also,
that is what we
it seems like Spencer Brand is the new deputy premier.
And
I realize
that is why we have decided to partner. Now, just so I explain why this has become important, there was at some point by these developers a suggestion that they would develop their own healthcare facilities inside the zone. And we said to them, rather than doing that, why not partner with us and develop the healthcare facilities in Nevis generally, so that everybody can benefit from those facilities. And so that was how we arrived at that particular position.
Okay, people are clap. People are clap.
Good night, finally. My name is Marisha Mori, and as a teacher of over 20 years, I took my time today and I wrote my questions down, as you can see, right? And I almost thought I wouldn't get to ask my question. Don't you think that setting up a town hall meeting after the SSZ is already passed into law is a total disrespect to the people in whom you serve? That's question number one. My second question.
Whoa.
A vast number of persons are speaking out against this SSZ law. This includes prominent lawyers within the Federation, elected officials, teachers like myself, your very own supporters, and most importantly, the citizens of this land on a whole. So why does it appear that our concerns are being ignored and that the CCM government is hell-bent on forcing this SSC law upon us? I thank you.
I feel like the best questions have been the non-emotional
Thank you very much
questions.
for the questions.
The best
Thank you very much for the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, if we can, we've had we've had important questions asked, if we can try to respond. The issue of disrespect, you indicated that we are coming now. I think that there has been a lot of confusion in the public space. Let me say, please, let me say first of all, the SSZ legislation is one thing. The project that is proposed is something else. We are here talking about the project that is proposed for the island of Nevis. It seems that people keep confusing the two. All the please, can I just explain? All the
ladies and gentlemen, I got for some tips
because
and
an
some,
SSZ can be proposed in St. Kitts tomorrow. It can be proposed on 10 acres of land in Nevis tomorrow. The content of that proposal is what I think we ought to be discussing and debating. The NIA, through the Nevis Island Assembly, did not pass SSZ legislation. That was done at the federal level. And all that the SSZ legislation does is it creates a framework. That's all it does. People can apply, and it is then for the government to evaluate each application from each developer to determine whether or not that application meets the requirements and whether or not the people and the government want that particular development. I think that people are saying the SSZ is bad because they hear of a big project that's happening in Nevis and they're saying that because of that big project, the SSZ is bad. I want people to recognize that if that project never happens, the SSZ still remains. And the SSZ may be used for any other purpose. Somebody asked earlier about another proposal. One of the things we've seen is some people saying they would like to create a tech park, but they want it to be done by way of an SSZ. So the reality is that I want people to move away from this notion. The other thing that I want to say on that, I have been in the Parliament of St. Kitts and Nevis now for almost 20 years. And in my 20 years, we have debated hundreds of pieces of legislation. I have never seen one go to town hall before it goes to the Parliament. It has never happened. And so while I hear the, please, can I say, we're having a town hall now, again, not to talk about the legislation, but to talk about the project that has been proposed. I am not understanding why that is such a difficult concept for us to grasp. The project that is proposed is what we are talking about. Do we want this project that is proposed on the South Coast? That is what we are talking about, right? So that's where we are.
Oh my God.
So it sounds to my ear that the eyes have it. That's what it sounds like. The eyes have it. So this is the discussion that we're having on this occasion. So I just want to make that clear. Now, in relation to what's the other question?
Quiet, please. Quiet. Quiet, please.
Yeah. The language you used was a vast number of persons are speaking out against the project. And again, I would only admonish you to speak for you, because I don't know who the vast number of persons are. If I can finish, the people who make the most noise aren't necessarily the vast number.
I would point out
there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who, because they're not noisy, don't suggest that
Historical
they
and
don't have an
Conservation
opinion of their
Society.
own, and don't suggest that they don't have their own views. They may not be as loud as others may be, but please, I am just here to make it clear that sometimes when we shout hard enough, we start to feel like we're the only voice because we're only listening to ourselves. As the Premier of Nevis, my job is to listen to everybody. So I listen to those who shout the loudest, and I also listen to those who have a quiet conversation because they're not the shouting type. So if you're going to tell me that there's a vast number, I'm not sure how you're measuring vast. All I'm saying is, let us speak for ourselves. Let us share our opinions respectfully, but don't speak for anybody else. Because when people
how
have
could
their
we
private
determine a
moments
vast number
you know, sometimes
when we're
I've been a
also
politician
against
for
a
while.
referendum?
You know, sometimes they have some
We
big
need a
concerts on the
referendum
final
on
night.
this issue.
Some big reggae artists, and when you leave, you say, my God, I win the election. And the next day you get your tail part breaking.
All of these
You know why?
reasons are
People went and
reasons why
jumped
we
up and
need a
shout and dance
referendum.
and went and vote against you. Let us always be careful when we try to speak for the public. That's all I'm saying. Speak for you. Say that you are against something or you're for something. That is your right. But leave other people the same right. That's all. Thank you.
If I could just reiterate, if I could just reiterate what the Premier said, the SSZ, the Special Sustainability Zone, and the project that we're here discussing tonight, they are two different things. The Act provides the framework, and the Act does not preclude anybody from Nevis from applying for a zone. So the Act does not say that the zone is just for overseas investors. If there are locals here who have land and would wish to do something on their property and their land, they can apply for the zone as well. I just wanted to make that absolutely clear.
People,
next question.
Should I do the press conference tomorrow? There's a joint cabinet press conference at 10 a.m. Do you all want us to do the press conference tomorrow?
My name is Decil Hamilton. I just want to say, well, just one comment before I go into the questions. I know we're saying that we're discussing the proposal of the project tonight, but if we look around, even on the screens, Town Hall, let's talk about the special sustainability zones. So it doesn't say let's talk about the Destiny project. So clearly, you know, some people can come with a misunderstanding because of what was advertised. That's just that. Secondly, so I read through the Special Sustainability Zone Act. My qualms with it is that I feel like it's, you know, a very loose piece of legislation, but it does, as you guys say, provide a framework, the things that can go in and the things that will go in. Unfortunately, what a lot of people don't understand, and from my understanding, is that until it becomes a development agreement that comes either before the Parliament and then the Cabinet and then the federal government, then we're kind of all left in the air wondering what will be inside of it. So while we're here discussing the Destiny proposal and all the things that they're saying, my question is, for that, are these specific items that were listed before, like the 5% and all of these different things, are they going to be built into the development agreement? And secondly, will there be developmental milestones in that development agreement? For instance, Destiny is proposing to provide homes for thousands of people. They have to provide their own electricity and water and such things like that. All of this can't happen overnight. So is it that the infrastructure, like their roads, hospitals, and all of those different things are going to come before those other things? Will that be shared with us? Will we know about that? So that way, you know, the public understand, you know, how long and the real impact of this agreement over time. Because the revenue that, you know, we are saying will be generated and the jobs and all of that, if you're going to be providing for tens and thousands of people, I'm sure you're going to have supermarkets and all of those things inside. So is the spillover really coming outside, or will all of those things kind of be built inside of it? If you can give some comments on that. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yes.
Can I try to answer very quickly? One of the things that we understand is that you talk about supermarkets, that's where you ended. But whatever the business might be, we have been very clear that local business people must also have opportunities inside the zone. So if Rams or Value Mart or yourself decide, I want to set up a business, then you should be free to set up inside the zone as well. So I just wanted to say that. Development milestones, absolutely. Again, as I said, we have learned some very harsh lessons from unfinished projects. All across St. Kitts and Nevis, we see them. And so yes, there are development milestones with penalties. So that if they don't meet these milestones, there are penalties that apply at every step of the way. And the question of commitments, financial commitments, also yes. So all of these are what would form part of the development agreement, which has to go to Parliament and therefore has to be made public. So there's no question, Mr. Hamilton, of, as you say, people not knowing or you not knowing until whatever time. This must go through the parliamentary process. And just so people understand that a zone can only happen if there is a development agreement. That development agreement, if the zone is in Nevis, and this is what the law provides, if the zone is in Nevis, the NIA cabinet has to say, yes, we want it. If we say, yes, we want it, it then goes over to St. Kitts. Their cabinet must say, yes, we want it. If that is the case, it comes to Nevis, we must go into the Nevis Island Assembly, our parliament, local parliament, and we must say, aye, we want it.
It seems like that won't be in the agreement,
To the national
but
parliament
it seems like we ain't going to see
we want it. What I
until
mean
it
by
is
that
debated in
where
Parliament.
we are right now is at the very beginning stage of this process because we don't even yet have an agreement. So that agreement has to be concluded and then it has to go through those steps. It is only when it is passed through the Parliament, then there is a publication. And when that publication happens, that's when the zone is created.
Promising and not delivering.
So there is
all
no
of us on why the project and why
issue
the
here of
urgency.
somebody waking
Election
up
is
one morning
coming,
and
but
finding that a zone has been created. That is simply not possible. So these discussions that we're having again is really to assist us as the cabinet to better inform ourselves. And I will tell you that from these discussions, we have had a tremendous level of input that we have then been able to take back to the cabinet and to take back to our own discussions with developers and say, hey, this idea or that idea.
let me answer a question.
And so that is really why we have.
You feel like somebody should ask if Mr. Janssen could vote right now? The Premier was saying that these people can't vote. Is Mr. Janssen a registered voter? He said he's a
Yes,
proud
good night,
division.
everyone. My name is Devon Cornelius, and I want to go back to the presentation from Mr. Olivier Hansen's, where
No, 2026
in that
adult,
presentation it was
2026.
mentioned that support will be given to the Nevis's geothermal development. So I don't know if you could clarify that, because the question I have to follow with that is, I was reading an article earlier today dated February 7, 2025, which came from the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service, and it was the Prime Minister announcing that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis had secure full financing for the development of geothermal in St. Kitts and Nevis. So I don't know if I am misunderstanding that article and what was announced here tonight, so perhaps a member of the panel could provide clarity on that. But if I may go back a bit quickly, in
Well, my
July
understanding is that he trying to say that
stated that you had only received an
Javon,
initial, and I want to go to the timeline. You had only
if
received
NRP
an initial
ain't print,
approach from developers
if NRP
interested in
ain't
South
print
Coast
a voters
Clearview,
list with Janssen,
and that there was
NRP
no
is
formal
engaged in
proposal
malpractice.
at that time. So clarify for us whether the Destiny project now being promoted is the same project
So like
you
you said,
referred to
he now
in July.
trying to
And
get
given
your
that the
approval.
SSZ Act was
So
passed
Shante, you
on
need
August
to give
11,
your
2025,
approval or disapproval.
and the developers are
That is the
already
question I was about to ask.
publicly
Yeah,
presenting
yeah,
detailed
we're thinking
plans,
on the same
including
line.
offers of employment, infrastructural development, scholarships, something that looks like dividends. When exactly did the government engage, or when did government engagement with these developers move from an informal discussion in July to us being here and seeing all of this? Because July, what's today's date? 27th of October? That's a very short timeline to squeeze everything into that. So I'm just trying to get a clear understanding of the timeline. So if you could provide exact dates, explain in detail the dates, when you move from informal to formal, and all of that. Because what I find a bit concerning is, you did mention that the agreement was not signed. But how are you offering jobs and all of these different things? So perhaps you could clarify that, please. Thank you.
So Mr. Cornelius is a simple matter. I'll hand over things to Mr. Brandt shortly. But I don't understand what is so mysterious about me coming in to say I want to do a development. This is what I'm proposing to do. And if you have a business, you want to offer your services, or you're looking for a job, send me your details. What is so alien or strange about that? If I'm going to be building a house, well, I have my plans that are being finalized. Am I not already talking to contractors? Am I not already having conversations with people to say, listen, if planning were to approve my plans, then I want to move forward? So I'm just not understanding. People are looking for a conspiracy of some kind, and they're trying to manufacture it wherever they can find it. No. You ask your question. Let me try to answer you. So the reality
I
is,
do not feel like the Premier has held his composure this evening.
this is the project we want to do.
How do
and
y'all
we're
feel?
inviting
Has the
people who may be
Premier
interested
maintained
to
his
get
composure?
involved by sending us the
How is
information.
this performance
What
going
is wrong
down
with
with you?
Now, this question keeps coming up about when the government knew and what is the timeline. Now, I can't tell you, Mr. Cornelius, because I didn't come here tonight with a diary to say at 9 a.m. on such and such a day, I received this proposal. What I can say to you is that as a government, we have operated in a particular manner. And that manner is open and it's transparent. And if we're asked questions, please, can I finish? If we're asked questions about a project,
How are services being offered to Destiny, and we don't fully understand the scope
my answer is yes.
of this
But if
project?
I'm not in a position because I don't
If the
have
project
something
is not
concrete
done.
in front of me, what exactly am I expected to say to you?
How come me not get consultation over the cricket ground? They might put a cricket ground over there.
But I'm asking what assurance you
And-
want. You want to
and-
know what day we received an
Okay,
application?
I gonna
Right.
apply
Right.
who coach
And
the
why do you
Destiny
want to know
cricket
what
team.
day we received the application? What's the relevance of it?
So you just
I'm just curious. I'm just asking.
You just mentioned
Yes.
right, that you don't have anything concrete in front of you. You even made reference to a diary, right? So even if you don't have that information tonight,
Yes.
are you saying you don't have the information?
No. I'm not saying
at
that.
all?
I've asked something different.
Okay.
What's the relevance of when the application was received insofar as
Because
you're concerned?
we want to.
You want to know?
I want to understand the timeline of events.
Okay.
That's what I want to understand.
So, Mr. Cornelius,
because then it will give me a better understanding of the whole.
that's what you're looking for, some
entire
understanding?
development.
Okay. We'll try and provide you some understanding of the timeline of events.
Mr.
I
Cornelius,
do not
if I
feel
may
like
take the other
sarcasm
question as it
is
relates
gonna
to
work
the-
right now. The Premier does not have
geothermal
sarcasm leverage
matter.
right now. Let's hear
The
from the new Deputy Premier,
geothermal project
Mr. Brand.
is basically split in two phases. The first phase has to do with the drilling and
Well,
the
are they-
exploration of the wells.
At the same set of preparation,
We have
never
gone
come
through an
with tomorrow,
exercise
yeah?
where we would have
And
had,
to me,
I believe it was
Janelle could
5
just
or
got
6
got
of
blank
the
paper in front of she.
largest drillers in the world participating in that process. That process, I believe, will come to an end very shortly, and the selection will be made as to who the driller will be to explore those wells. The Prime Minister is accurate when he said that he has the financing in place for that phase of the project. I believe we got $15 or $17 million from the Caribbean Development Bank. I believe also we have, it was $20 million from the Saudi fund. And we have some from, I believe, is the IDB or one of those. So the funding is available. The Green Climate Fund. The idea is that there has to do the exploration phase first in terms of what exactly they will be getting from the wells to design the actual plan. That phase of the project is not yet designed or conceptualized yet. They needed data from the drilling for that to take place. So I don't think that there is any attempt to mislead anybody when someone said that they would be trying to give assistance to the geothermal project. There is a second phase, and once the data is available, then that phase would need, of course, significant financing.
All right. Yes, young lady in white. Dr. Nisbet, sorry.
Good evening to the distinguished panel and to my fellow Nevis people. So I just have one plea and two questions. The plea is, can we please have several town hall meetings on the SSZ legislation as well as the Destiny project in a larger space? Please. My first question, what is your process for quantifying opposition to the bill and the proposed projects? And what do you have to say to empower those people that want to speak out about this, but are too afraid of being labeled anti-CCM or pro-NRP or anti-government, or even being retaliated against just for voicing their opinions on such a bill? My second question is about immigration. So I think there are 14,000 jobs, and you have done such a spectacular job at the unemployment rate that we have here in Nevis. It's very low. So is there a plan or a suggestion or a proposal for where the people will come from to work in this zone? So are you going to be immigrating people? Is there a plan for immigration from elsewhere? Because I think the 10,000 is residential, and so there will need to be a population to service these people, and where will they come from? Thank you.
Yes, go right ahead, please.
Dr. Nisbet, thank you very much. The question of additional meetings is something that we would have to look at. What I will say to you is that we had approached these meetings in a particular way, which was to have focused stakeholder meetings and also to have a general town hall meeting. Clearly, we needed a bigger room. I said that at the outset. You asked about people expressing their opinions and what do we do to gauge. The truth is, other than polling, there's really little that we can do to gauge. I made the comment earlier about some people who are very loud in terms of their opinion. There are other people who are not so loud and are rather quiet in terms of their opinion, or they don't say what their opinion is at all. Now, you say that some may be concerned about getting labeled, or can I use the word victimize? Victimized because of their opinions. Victimization and CCM don't go in the same sentence. So let me just make that clear. All right? Some of the harshest critics of this government are working in government, and nobody has troubled them. Right? So this idea that people can't say their views or whatever, I just think that's alien to the Nevis that we have tried to create. The issue of immigration, I think, is a fundamentally important issue. Now, I want to answer it this way. We anticipate, yes, that people must come in to work, because it's obvious that the local population will not be able to sustain the number of jobs that we're talking about. But we're saying, one, people of Nevis and people of St. Kitts must get priority. So we have the entire federation. We have, I just asked Minister Lai when he passed me a note to say that on average, we have about 215 to 220 young people come out of school every year as graduates. We have, if I can use you, Dr. Nisbet, somebody like yourself, bright, capable, Nivision. I want you home. How do I get you to be home? We must provide opportunities for people like you so that you have the opportunity to be home. Every year, we educate scores of young people, and most of them choose to stay abroad. Not because, in my opinion, they don't love Nevis, but many times because of their training, the opportunities for them are simply not available. Let me give you an example. One of my very dear friends is a neurosurgeon, young fellow from Rice's in Gingerland, for those of you who don't know where Rice's is. Went to school, bright. He
the Premier said that they are considering giving them tax concessions because they're spending the money for the infrastructure.
I once had the conversation with him and said,
if they spend the money for geothermal, don't you think that they're going to get some kind of special rate on the geothermal?
With our population
How
in a
that
given
work?
year.
The
reality is that some of our best and brightest have been forced to be abroad. And it is not good enough for me that we continue
also
to
need
export
to hear
people.
about
I looked recently at the census numbers.
how it's going to work as far as setting up a business in
the
there.
census is done normally every 10 years.
When you set up a business in these
and
fantastic
you may not accept it, but if you don't
buildings
accept it,
that
go
they
and check
build,
for yourself. That
who
this
will pay the
census
money?
says that Nevis has about 13,000.
Do we have the capital
Sinkis has
to
about
pay the rent in
38,000.
the zone?
Total
Who going to be
population
in charge
of
of setting the rental price?
But what I found was instructive is that it is the first time since 1960, that our population got to 50,000. In fact, in some of the censuses that were done during that period, our population dropped to as low as 34,000. It means, therefore, that our main export from this country since 1960 and perhaps before has been people. So how do we get our people to come home? How do we get the second and third generation of Nevisians who are in Canada, who are in New York, who are in London to come home, unless we can provide opportunity at home for them? How do we get our people to understand that when I go off to study, if I want to stay abroad, I can, but I don't have to, because there is sufficient opportunity here in Nevis for me. And the only way we can do that is to expand our economy and create opportunity. I heard something said recently, and I've adopted it now as my own. If we continue to do the same things, we will get the same results that we always got. And that is the reality. So it is for us as a people to determine where we want to go. So the other point about immigration and population is that currently, St. Kitts and Nevis is already part of the free movement of people within the OECS. So if you're from Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and you hear there's a job here, you can pack up tomorrow and move, because that is the right that you have of free movement now within the OECS. I emphasize the OECS. In the wider CARICOM, there's also free movement, but it is more limited. So it is only certain skill sets and people with what is called a skills certificate who can move within the wider CARICOM. I say that to say, therefore, that when job opportunities are created in St. Kitts and Nevis, it is no longer just Kittitians and Nevisians here. It is also Kittitians and Nevisians abroad. It is also OECS nationals who have the same rights as we do. And it is also CARICOM nationals, depending on the nature of the job. So we have a lot of options insofar as jobs are concerned that currently exist. And I'm not yet moving outside the region. I'm just talking about our own people, our OECS people, and our wider CARICOM people. So I hope that helps to answer the question.
Herbert? The lady there in front of Honorable Latoya Jones has her hand up for quite some time now. Oh, yes. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Hansel Manners. And I'm happy for this opportunity to raise issues, to ask questions. I shall not be commenting on the pros and cons of the project this evening. Most people this evening have done just that. There's a worrying lack of transparency surrounding this project, and therefore I would like to raise an issue of governance, an aspect which can have a significant impact on decision-making in relation to the project. Indeed, lack of attention to proper governance can derail any project, and cause serious collateral damage to those caught in the middle, like us, the people of Nevis, and indeed of the entire Federation. In this regard, I wish to respectfully raise an issue which, so far as I know, has not been questioned directly and has been addressed only speculatively on social media, but nonetheless is an important component of the mass of information we have to contend with in trying to analyze and understand the project, this project we are discussing.
Hey, let me
And
tell
a
you
matter we
something.
need
Everybody
to
on
clear
point
the air
tonight.
on. And indeed, the public needs to know the answer to as we try to understand the project. I have three or four questions following, all related. So if you permit me...
Just two questions, please. Two questions, please. There are others who have their hand up and we're running out of time.
Okay,
Yeah, quickly, please, quickly.
My question is to the Honorable Premier, respectfully raised. Has the firm that bears your name, Brantley and Associates, been retained or employed in any way by the developer of this project? Several people have already expressed concern over the issue of conflict of interest. And indeed, one commentator in a public commentary has speculated that your firm is providing legal services to the developer.
Share the live. Share the live.
Land transfer
Check out the
at
Instagram. Subscribe to the page.
As a matter of public interest, can you confirm or deny this? That's my first question.
As a matter of public interest, Mr. Manners,
yes.
The firm that bears my name is the law firm of Daniel Brantley. It has had no involvement with this project whatsoever. It has represented no one in relation to this project. In fact, what I will say to you is that as far as I'm aware, a firm called Denton's is the firm that represents this particular project. And thus far, I believe there's a young lawyer, Whitaker Claxton Associates, which is the lawyer who did the corporate work for this project. And so despite the commentaries that you have seen, I've also seen commentaries saying that I've been involved in all kinds of things. But I want to make that pellucid, that Daniel Brantley has not been involved. If Daniel Brantley were to get involved, then I would be more than happy to come back and tell you that as well.
Much for clearing the air. And I'm glad you mentioned that you have heard it.
One further question, please. Just one additional question.
I'm not asking any more questions. I'm just saying it's great that this question was raised so you could clear the air. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Simon Lowe, I think someone... Oh,
hello. Good evening. My question is one question, and that is this. I think most people on the island would welcome the development, but my question is, what is the necessity for the SSZ? And my question goes to Madam Lewis as the legal representative of the Cabinet. It is well known that previous developments, including the one that I propose to do on the south side, but let us refer to the Four Seasons in particular, received concession agreements from the government covering taxation and a whole host of other issues. So why could this development not have the same kind of agreement, which is totally under the control of the NIA and didn't need any kind of federal involvement? And if that is not the case, can you please clarify for everybody what the difference is between the normal kind of concession agreements given to developers and what additional concessions you are giving or being asked to give for this particular
this is a capital question.
Thank you.
This is a capital owner asking why I ain't special. Why is the SSZ required? Nobody tell me that up to now.
Good evening. Are you hearing me? No. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
The man said Daniel Brantley is not involved. If he says so, we got to believe so.
Concessions are the subject of the development agreement and will be discussed in there. The SSZ Act does not address concessions. the necessity.
Ladies and gentlemen, she just messed up.
Relates to the
Our legal advisor just messed up. No! No!
Federal Parliament
No!
that such matters, because they will involve.
She's sticking! Why is she buffering?
Or could possibly involve matters of national federal responsibility, such as taxation, such as citizenship, such as land ownership. It was thought that that would be the appropriate place
Chapo, has she been a stick just now?
to be raised.
Now the thing has stick on her?
Who took it
She just had a
under
stroke.
their consideration to issue.
Somebody check the legal advisor, get the legal advisor oxygen.
The Premier, as a member of the Federal Parliament, would like to say more about that.
A lowly member.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Lowe, you asked a question that I think
that wasn't it.
Many have asked, which is essentially, why just not do this as an ordinary development? I think the answer is really that this is intended to be a special zone. And special zones all around the world are done through special legislation. You know, we have had a lot of debate in Nevis, which some people are upset that we're having debate. I'm actually happy because it shows the strength of our democracy. But the debate that we are having in Nevis really is reflective sometimes of an absence of an appreciation that these zones have been existing all around the world. We've never had one in Nevis. But Jamaica had zones since the 1960s. The DIFC is a very famous zone in Dubai where that exists. So for us, really, it is something new. I think that no zone can be created absent special legislation to allow it to be created. So that's the first answer in terms of the SSC. I think why we are having this debate about this particular zone is because this is trying to do something
incorrect.
It's trying to do something different. It's trying to go beyond what other zones have done in terms of what it's seeking to create. And so I think that that is where perhaps the debate, one, that is new to us. It's not new, but it's new to us. And two, the extent to which this zone is seeking to establish. So it is really a situation where one cannot ever establish a special zone. In other countries, they say SEZ, Special Economic Zone, absent the relevant legislative framework to allow it to happen. Put differently, I could not.
So how come Four Seasons got duty-free concession?
Zone where that Four Seasons.
Why Four Seasons got duty-free concession and ain't got a special zone down there?
Special legislation.
This is
and
not
it is not
it.
something that is particularly
this ain't
rare.
it.
In
You
fact,
could
I was looking at
negotiate with a
something
developer.
where
spinning.
a short-lived
Spin
prime
doctor.
minister in the UK,
And I ain't buying
Rishi
that.
Sunak, he was prime minister, I think. I hope I'm right on that. But a colleague of mine in London sent me where he announced that he was doing, I think, 7 such zones in the UK to do exactly what we are trying to do, to spur development. A point that perhaps I should have made at the outset that I did not make is that we have to consider that for a very long time,
is
this
no longer the
country
Prime
has
Minister
been
of the UK. No?
heavily dependent
That's a man who them man get
on
rid of. A star
citizenship
man
by
in right now.
investment money. That has been the goose that has been laying that golden egg. We're now in a situation where all across the region, that CBI money is drying up, and St. Nevis is no different. So the question that we have to ask ourselves really is, what then do we do? Do we try to raise taxes on an existing population which is already taxed? Do we find new avenues for revenue? What do we do? We have no gold as far as I know. We have no oil as far as I know. But we have a need as an island to develop and to grow. So absent financial flows that are non-tax revenue, like CBI, what do we do in terms of our development and in terms of maintaining the standard of living to which we all have grown accustomed? So all of these are important considerations as we try to figure out, and the SSZ legislation was really designed to provide another alternative, an option for us to diversify the local economy.
Me love me Deputy Premier Spencer Brownbaugh.
If these developers have approached you and wish to develop, that's great. My question is, why do we need an SSZ? They can develop exactly everything that's been presented here without any kind of legislation, because it's within the NIA jurisdiction to grant them all the concessions that we've heard about tonight in terms of taxation, in terms of labor employment and law and so on. So I still don't understand, and I think a lot of people don't really grasp why.
One thing with my
what
European
are the extra
brother,
conditions that we are not
he
aware of,
focused.
or the extra demands that they are seeking that would not be covered through a normal
No,
development
up to now, when I
But
hear
if
about the
that's the
22
question for
billion,
us, then
and
I'm
that's not
asking you
good.
similarly. How is it that the UK
Somebody
has all
need
of
to
these
ask a
zones?
$22 billion
How is it that the
question.
US has all of these zones? How that Jamaica has its zone? They all come through special legislation. So we can argue about the modality of development all we want. The bottom line is that the SSZ was designed to create another avenue for development. Some may use it, some may not, but it's making that avenue
I think the
available
premier
for
just tell upon
those
himself.
developers who say, I would prefer to do a development within a zone which is a
I
special
think the
zone.
premier just tell upon
So
himself.
it is not to say that what you're suggesting, if another Four Seasons wants to come, we welcome them. But if a developer comes and say, I want to do a Four Seasons-like development, but I want it in a special zone, all the SSC does is creates the framework to allow that to happen. So it's a matter of choice. That's what it comes down to. And as a government, we have provided
He
the
will not
options
answer the
for
question.
developers to come and to talk to us.
Presumably, it's a precondition of theirs that they will not come and do any development on this island unless it's
When the
within
premier
an
said
SSZ.
how America get all the SSZ,
Is that the
This
case?
I thought
developer
that we
wants
were
to have an
supposed to be the
SSZ.
SSZ of the Americas.
All right, next question.
I thought we were supposed to be the
Excuse me,
Dubai or the
yes.
Monaco. All of that was in
Good night,
the
everyone.
15-minute video.
My name is Gene Liebert. I'm
What?
not going to call this no
Uncle Gene is
economic
there.
zone. This is a libertarian settlement, and that's it. My questions tonight are directed to Minister Nisbet and Minister Evelyn. Minister Nisbet,
Janelle, get a question, everybody. Janelle, get a question.
We have a health problem facing us right now in this country in relation to a landfill that we have on the southern side. I want to know the lifespan on that landfill, better terminology, that dump that we have. Its lifespan has already expired. Where will the next landfill be established? Because the southern side, for most of us, is the most obvious choice. The second question goes to Mr. Evelyn. Mr. Evelyn, the southern side has always been an area for livestock farming. My father raised animals there. The premier father raised animals there. Mr. Liebert family raised animals there. Why hasn't the NIA seek to buy some of those said lands which you all want to now put into a libertarian settlement for vegetable farmers, livestock farmers, and housing, because you are taking a housing project over there. So why is it at the kind of prices, 67 cents per square foot, 91 cents per square foot, why hasn't the government tried to secure some of those said lands for the people of Nevis?
Thank you.
Good evening. In relation to the dump site for the solid waste management, I'm going to make the connection between that and the SSZ because that's what we're here to discuss, and so I assume there's a connection to be made. The lifespan at the dump is obviously, it's at its capacity, and our strategy to manage that has been to incorporate things such as recycling. So it's not to just create a new dump site, we have to learn how to manage the waste that we currently have. So we've expanded our recycling projects from bottles to aluminum. We're now working on a scrap metal project where we're actively baling those vehicles and then exporting them out of the island. So our approach is not to just find a new place to dump trash, but to reduce the amount of trash that we're generating as a people. Now, if you want to connect that to this particular project, we have, while we were discussing this project, I, of course, would have indicated the need for solid waste management to be independent, because we do not need any additional waste in our dump that's already at capacity. So what they have confirmed is that 80% of their waste will be recyclable. That's what they've committed to. And that was not good enough for me, so I queried more, what of the additional 20%? And they have committed that they will work on exporting out of the island.
All right, good evening once again, everyone. Mr. Liebert, you mentioned that over there previously was used for livestock production. I'm sure you would recognize that there's absolutely no livestock production that takes place over there at this point. None. At least not to my knowledge and not to my department's knowledge. Right? You also mentioned that you believe or you think that the department, or I'm sorry, the government should purchase some land from those areas, whether for housing, for livestock production, for crop production. Mr. Liebert, I don't think you recognize how expensive land is for the government to purchase. Of course, we are in a cabinet, and Minister Brand is here. He can tell you how much we had to go through to purchase land for us to provide housing in Charlestown. As the minister with responsibility for lands, I can tell you as well that it is a burden when we have to purchase land from private individuals, whether it's for housing or for livestock or for crop production. The administration do not have the resources to purchase those large tracts of land. So, Mr. Liebert, I would suggest to you that if you can help us find the money, we'll be happy to purchase some of those lands. But the government does not have the resources to purchase those large tracts of land, sir.
All right, so we'll have a question from, I think it's Ms. Keynes at the back there. White.
Based off of them question,
and then
I would
the
ask
officer
my
over
question
here next to
to
Dr.
Eric.
Daly. Yes, and all right, the gentleman there next to Dr. Daly.
Good evening, everyone.
For some time now.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is J.D. Keynes, and I have my contribution. So my first question, in the video played earlier, perhaps almost at the start of tonight's town hall featuring Olivier Jensen, it was noted that persons who do not wish to outright sell their lands have the option to swap lands, and that can be pursued, that can be implemented. In other words, I understood it to mean that they can get lands in other parts of the island.
Natural mystic, nobody explained that to me
his
yet.
comment, and even taking into consideration the Premier's comment earlier that persons within the zone cannot purchase land outside the zone, I am curious to know where else does the proposed developers have lands on Nevis? So that's my first question. Just for clarity, he said in his video that you can swap the lands and they can facilitate it. Okay, so I'm just curious to know where else he has lands so that can be facilitated. All right, and then my second question, because I'm obeying Mr. Daniel's guideline, it has to do with due diligence. Now, I think most of us in here at some point or other has heard that term. Everything you do now asks about due diligence checks. Even to open a bank account, you have to do due diligence checks. And so I became a bit concerned when I heard a comment earlier, so I just want clarification on that. So basically, due diligence has something to do with checking the person or the
You know what,
business,
Mr.
the
Technical
entity,
JD? Just like
seeing
ask the question.
the background, all of that kind of thing,
Bro,
putting it in simple terms. So
we
considering
understand that
Minister
part there, but
Leibert's comment earlier,
we don't see the win.
what is the level of due diligence that has been done on the proposed developers? I know he said that, of course, they wouldn't know everything. So because they don't know everything, I'm curious to know, what do we know? What level of due diligence has been done? Who has facilitated that? And is it subject to further screening? Thank you so much.
All right, can I take a stab at this? Thank you very much for the question. And the question of due diligence, is, I want the public to know that this is not something new for this government. The island of Nevis is a very well-established financial
nobody knows
services
that figure.
jurisdiction, where we have international banks, we have trust companies. Under all of the regional and international requirements, we have to do due diligence before we can even license any of these. So we have agencies that we use. Due diligence usually is done to determine if there are what they call adverse results. Adverse results means that you're criminal, you are involved in some nefarious or criminal activity, you have been charged, you've been convicted, you are involved in fraud or things of that nature. That is what due diligence would normally show up. We have had, I think, going back to the question that was posed initially about Mr. Jensen being a libertarian, and it seems that some are equating that with some type of criminality or something that is adverse. I would shudder to think, if I were to take a poll in this room right now and ask people what they believe in. Some of you may not believe in God.
The premier can't do this thing where he tell people, you talk for yourself, but then now he say, well, suppose I did a poll in here
if you bring a
about what people believe.
And that proposal makes sense economically, fiscally, financially, that we ought to tell you, we don't agree with you because you have some beliefs. Some of us are opposed to LGBTQ rights. What if the person is a proponent of that? You see, you know, people are asking us as a government to start to delve into people's beliefs and what they think and what they don't think. I am saying, as a government, our job is to look at the proposal that is in front of us. That is our job. Right now we have a billionaire who owns 4 Seasons. Any of you know what Bill Gates believes? Did anybody ever ask him?
That was a sad clap.
So the reality that we have is that it's almost as if people are now creating these new ideas of due diligence to say that if somebody says something or believes something, that somehow that bars them. And we are saying that due diligence in the ordinary course speaks to conduct that is criminal, conduct that is adverse in those circumstances. Not to whether somebody is Muslim or Hindu, not to whether they share our beliefs, but rather, when we as a government get a proposal, we must look at the proposal. And I have not seen any libertarian proposal come to this government. That has been something that other people are saying. We have not had that proposal. So I just want to make that very clear. And Mr. Brand is reminding me that the gentleman has been a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis for nearly a decade. So to attain citizenship, again, you would have had to go through a due diligence checks. In fact, the public may not know, but all citizenship applications now have to go through impacts, they call it in Barbados. And impacts is informed by the United States, United Kingdom, EU, and Canada. So anybody who has our citizenship has to have been run through that, you know, those agencies as well to ensure that there are no adverse findings. So I don't know what other due diligence the government must do or has been asked to do, because I shudder to think what would happen if we started due diligence on everybody in this room. I'm pretty sure we'll have adverse findings on
Once
different
again,
people.
you see
And
why
so
I become
what
back
would be
here
the
again?
answer to that? If there's an adverse finding, we don't do
You see
business?
what happened here again?
I don't think that that is the answer. If you're a criminal, if you're
I'll
involved in
judge it.
fraud or other criminal activity, then absolutely we can't do business. But if you're doing something that I don't necessarily agree with, I find morally reprehensible, for example, that is not a basis for government to say that we are not going to engage with you because you have not crossed any line in terms of criminality. In relation to the land swaps, my understanding is that what these developers have sought to do is to acquire options on lands elsewhere in Nevis. And to say to people, therefore, that if your lands are located in the area that they wish to acquire, and you do not want to sell your lands because you just want to continue to hold on to land somewhere, then they're saying, well, would you be willing to take additional land someplace else on the island? So put differently, they will buy land someplace else on the island and transfer that land to you in exchange for your lands, which are on the south side of Nevis. And my understanding is they're doing that at a rate of 1 to 1.5. So if you have 10 acres, you'll get 15 acres someplace else on Nevis. That is the proposal as I understand it. Any other questions?
We have, folks, we are winding down. We are what? 5 minutes to 10. We'll have the two final questions, the officer and then the gentleman here. Right. Oh.
Good evening. I'm Livingstone Williams. I'm a landowner. My family owns land in the same designation. I have a problem with when Mr. Brantley tries to lowball and dismiss the lands over on the southeast, saying that they have not contributed anything to the economy of Nevis. Well, I pay thousands of dollars every year for land tax. I have never got the road done. I've had to maintain it myself for my business. And Mr. Evelyn has said that there's no livestock over there. Well, livestock, Mr. Brantley, let me go back to him, says for the last 100 years, nothing has happened over there. That is totally false. Because from as far as Saddle Hill, Roland Archibald had St. George's Farm. There was a man named Ratty Esdale and his brother Harry, who had Winter Forest and Harry Saunders. When you come back over to Whitehall, Sunder Liberd, and Troy knows about this because it's over there I met him. They ran animals there too. When you come back to Coxeat, Dr. Huggins used to run animals there. When you come back to Bush Hill, Bellot. A lot of people won't know Bellot, but Bellot used to run animals there. Richmond Lodge Estate. Not only does it have animals, it has 2 farms. One of the farmers for 2 years was the #1 farmer in Nevis. And I have a quarry at the bottom.
They just said that they got it.
When you go across, there's Samson, Burke Liberd ran animals, and I'm talking about people who had hundreds, if not thousands of head. Right?
Okay.
When you come back over again to Bath, the Challengers, Seaton, Miss Huggins, all of them had hundreds of heads of animals. You are talking about food security. That over there, that region there, was the, and still is, the bastion of animal husbandry. The amount of animals which are produced over there to this day, Pembroke, Colin, Carl Claxton, Brady, endless animals. So I don't understand how you want to disparage the land, lowball the price of the land, and say that it does not contribute anything to Nevis. We've paid land tax for years and got 0. That is a contribution to the economy of Nevis. The people who have approached me since last year about buying lands want to come with a ridiculous deal about 1%, and then they're going to pay me in 3 or 4 years' time. Right? What kind of deal is that? I asked them, are they crazy? How do they expect to come to somebody and want to put that deal? I've done deals all my life. I would be mad to try to tell somebody 1% and the rest of the money in years to come, and you don't even know. Right?
Yeah.
So,
make it quick, please. We are moving ahead quickly.
okay,
We're going
all right, okay.
Please move on.
Right? And they refuse categorically to do any leasing or partnership. Right? Now, why don't they want to do that? Why? And then they want to make demands. If you say, well, I'll sell you a piece, they say no, under no circumstances. They want all. They came to me with all my family's lands and said they want all. So I say, so where the hell are we going to live then?
Mr. Williams, a question, please. I
Yes.
know we can go on with the editorial, but please.
Well,
question. We have the police officer, and we are running out of time.
Yes.
Quickly, please.
So then, as I say,
Finally.
I want to ask, I asked him already, Mr. Brantley,
Yes.
why is he always downgrading? Whenever he talks about the lands are no good. Well, if they're no good, why do they want them? They're no good for farming, they're no good for nothing. Well, how come all these animals have been raised on those same lands, and the people have paid rent? These are not just lands.
All right, Mr. Williams, point taken.
People have paid rent.
Thank you. Now, the police officer quickly, and then the Premier will answer both questions.
Good night, everyone. My name is Bentley Bissett, and I'm sorry that we do not have any more time. I hope that this will not be the last town hall meeting. Reason be it, in the spirit of transparency, and this has been said multiple times tonight, and being that this is the first of its kind in the Caribbean, why not make the proposed agreement public before ratifying in the House? I believe we have said that tonight is a debate. Persons can give their input, but if we do not have the information, if I do not have the information, I cannot make any informed decision or input or contribution, and that's the key word tonight, contribution. So if the information is being dripped, because look, I have about 15 questions, and tonight, this session has given me more questions than answers, and I'm limited to 2. So I decided to ask that. Okay? And the next question is, based on seeing that we cannot have a referendum or anything, and the impression I am getting tonight is that this discussion here, I'm not sure if it will change much in terms of the decision that the government is taking with this Destiny project. So, if my other question then is, will there be an early election before signing the agreement and ratifying it in Parliament? Because it was said that the developer agreement is going to be made public during the Parliament. But my train of thought or reasoning is, why wait till it goes to Parliament or to the House, where only a few is going to debate it, and then it is made public after the fact? So why not, seeing that this is something monumental, bring it forward, let us all look at it, have meaningful discussion, inputs, and say, no, we agree with this part, we don't agree, and we tell the developers, deal or no deal. Okay? And I am in support of development, but not any wash your foot and come sort of development, or any development that is under deception. No, we want transparency. Thank you.
All right.
Miss Officer Bissett, let me, please, can we try to respond? Officer Bissett, I heard your question, but perhaps in terms of
Officer
the
Bissett was
parliamentary
punching.
process, a bill does not just show up in Parliament for debate. That's not the way the parliamentary process works. A bill goes, the normal process is it has a first reading, the Parliament then adjourns, that bill then becomes a matter of public record. The bill then comes back, usually at some other occasion, weeks later, for what is referred to as a second and third reading. That's when the bill becomes law. So I don't want you to leave with the impression that somehow we're going to show up in Parliament, debate a bill, and the bill is passed into law. That is not the way legislation works, particularly legislation of this nature. So I just want to make that clear, that there will absolutely be opportunity for you and everybody else. But in terms of bringing an agreement, we don't think that there's any value in bringing an agreement before we have had the opportunity to negotiate. And that is where we are at this point. What we're hoping is that these meetings will give us information that we can then inform ourselves and assist us in our negotiation. But there's no suggestion, or if there is a suggestion, it's an incorrect suggestion, that a bill is just going to appear in Parliament and passed. And as you suggested in your commentary, that somehow after it's passed is when the public is going to see it. That is not the case. Let me quickly speak to Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, I noted in your commentary about animal, you mentioned a lot of people. Some of those people I remember from my youth, and I'm no longer young. Them gone long time ago. And so you keep saying that this was done and that used to be done. My issue really is, can we say that there is currently that level of animal farming that you described on those lands? And other than the last few names you mentioned, Carl, Colin, and Brady, all of whom I know very well, not one soul else over there is farming. Well, Emontine is again up, Emontine is up in Brownhill, right? So all those names you call out, you went from Brownhill all the way to Bath. All of them people are either done gone or them done with farming a long time ago. I hear somebody mention my dad. He's of blessed memory. The reality is that in terms of farming over there, and those who, like yourself, know that area, and I know the area too. I grew up in Brownhill. So for those who know the area, I heard somebody the other day talking about Brownhill Bay. I used to, as a youngster, walk to Brownhill Bay, swim, go to small Budza. I wasn't good enough to reach big Budza. But look how long no fishermen use in Brownhill Bay. There hasn't been fishing being done out of Brownhill Bay now, I would say, for the last 40 years. Right? So we can hold on to nostalgia and say this is what used to be, or we can deal with the reality that is there today. You say I'm devaluing the land. You heard the comment, Mr. Williams, that was made by Mr. Libert in the back? He said, when you sell the land out there, where are you going to put the dump? That was his comment. So, oh, you didn't hear him. So my point is, no, here's my point. Here's my point. You're seeking to say that I am devaluing the land. I am just speaking to the reality. There is no road, there is no water, there is no electricity, there is no development in that area. And that is the reality. So I am not sure why you're trying to persuade us that the reality is something different. And harking back to 50 years ago and what used to happen, frankly doesn't tell us what is happening today. All right, so if I said it was 100 years and you prefer 50 years, that's okay. But I'm simply telling you that what you're describing is something that used to happen. It is not something that is happening now. And you can't convince anybody in here that it's happening now because we know the area. You're from Brownhill? You're from the Brownhill, right? So don't There's no road over there, Mr. Williams, because of the colossal cost that it will cost the government. You say you pay a few $1,000s in land tax. It will cost us, let me finish. You're asking me a question. It will cost us over there well in excess. Mr. Williams, can I just answer you? You asked me a question. You say why is there, you asked me why is there no road? Okay, so you're not the only one who pays tax. Why there is no road is because of the cost, Mr. Williams. For us to put in infrastructure going into that area, we're talking about road. We had, what do you call it? We had considered an RFP, and the numbers are astronomical. We're not talking about 10 or $15 million. We're talking 40 million and more in terms of that particular infrastructure. We're not yet talking about water. We're not yet talking about electricity. So it is easy for us to say to the government, why you ain't putting a road? Because I have land over there and I pay a couple $1,000s in tax. But that is not the way government expenditure works. It would be impossible for any government, this one or any other government, to find the resources to put in the necessary resources
Mr. Liebert,
into
please.
The South Coast. It really would be impossible. Please. And I'm not just saying that because it is the reality of the situation, right? Why, we considered it. We said we would look at the possibility of putting in a road there, right? But when these developers started to discuss the possibility, we said, well, all right, let's hold. Let's hold on that. Because we aren't sure where we're going to find the money in the first place to put in that level of infrastructure that would be required to open up the south coast of Nevis. And that is just the honest position.
All right. Okay, folks. We are going to give the director of the NHCS a final question, because I did promise her. Oh, sorry. Yes, please. Please, sorry, election? Oh.
Mr. Bissett, you really want an answer to the question? Okay, there will be no, Mr. Bissett, there will be no elections until an election is due. All right? Thank you.
All right, final question, Ms. Robert.
Everyone, I know it's late, so I'm going to ask a quick question, and this is really targeted for Minister Nisbet, as my predecessor in this role as director of the NHCS. So in terms of Indian Castle and Whites Bay, as you know, are two significant archaeological sites for Nevis. These beautiful designs that we have behind us would occur directly on top of it, correct? So what is the plan? I know that a version of the SSZ did mention some historical protections, but that was later removed. So what is the plan for sites of historical significance in the area?
Thank you.
To my knowledge, the project doesn't stretch to Indian Castle. Can you guys confirm that for me, right? That is accurate. So it doesn't extend to Indian Castle. And yes, I'm your predecessor, and I had an excellent time working at the NHCS. I think at my time there, one of the struggles I had was we always had to advocate protection, but we had to balance that with the need for progress as well. So it can never be a case where every single structure that is 100 years old can never be removed, otherwise we would remain stagnant. So the strategy has always been to evaluate, assess, see the value, and see what protective measures can be put into place if it's deemed to have that essential value that needs to remain for the next generation to come.
And if I can quickly add as well, in all of our discussions, we have insisted that if there are any historical sites that are found in the area, they absolutely must be maintained and cannot be destroyed.
And ensure access.
And ensure access as well to those historical sites. So we must bear that in mind. Any historical sites that are found, access must be provided and they cannot be destroyed.
Right, thank you very much, folks. We are now at the end. It's 10:15. I'm sorry, I don't know if Mr. Premier, anyone want to make any closing remark? Hold on. Oh, Swan. Sorry. Go right ahead quickly, please.
Yeah, good night.
There's a very famous senator in St. Croix who uses as his motto, I have a PhD in common sense. I may not have what you all have, but I have common sense. We have boasted over the years how many Nevisians are out of Nevis, more than what is in Nevis. Why are we selling so much land and tending to want to sell more? When these people come back home, as they are coming home slowly but surely, what are for them? What are for them? We boast every time more Nevisians out of Nevis than was in Nevis. Where we selling it and making it an enclave so that they can't go there. I don't think that is a very wise thing that we're doing, and I think we need to change that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I think we've had a good discussion. We have gone back and forth, and we will certainly try to engage further as and when we go. Thank you. Get home safely. God bless you.
I get off late.
This is Mark Brantley, Premier of the island of Nevis. We have put together a compilation of various projects done on this island over the last decade and a half. The idea is to showcase all that we've done in terms of our infrastructure, our business development.
Yeah, you hold out the volume and let me wrap up this thing. I'm happy to see the turnout tonight because I wasn't sure how the people on the ground are perceiving this. If it's a really important issue, I could tell you. The Nevisians who are in the diaspora is an important issue for them, certainly. Before I continue, we have more shows tomorrow. The topics is tomorrow. Janice Daniel Hodge is supposed to be on. I was contemplating whether or not I should be on to apply a little pressure. Well, I don't really answer me. I was asking if I should do the townhall, not the townhall, the in the morning. I think that there's also, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's Real Talk, Real Entertainment Network tomorrow as well. So it should be from 7, and then also a different show at 8 o'clock. Couple things that I have observed and you could see from what the people are asking is that the people wanted to be consulted. It seems like the people have a desire to have more of a say. Not in every single project as the Premier is suggesting, which would I feel you. Thank you, Chef. The people seem like they want to be consulted and have a say in these type of issues. He only had 500 million, so what did they do with it? 40 million for development. So I would say that is a major issue on Nevis people mind. As far as the system, they do not feel like the current system is working for them. And I feel like Nevision have to really contemplate on how they want their democracy to grow. Should we have more of these town halls? Should we be utilizing technology as I suggest in order to gauge what the people say? You would not believe certain times when the Premier is speaking against referendums and getting the voice of the people and suggesting that everything just go to Parliament. That is not good enough. And you wouldn't believe that there are authoritarian countries out there who are more inclusive when they're creating the laws and really try to represent the people when they are creating the laws. Whereas here we have the suggestion that it would just tie up everything. And I feel like people need to start to think about that. And not only that, if there is an appealing alternative, then it is incumbent upon a political party, not even a political party, political persons, to start to craft a narrative that would be an effective alternative, a real change in the system. I feel like, thank you, bro. I feel like what I am witnessing is the opportunity for Nevis people to understand not just their rights, but class rights. Sinkistan went through the phase of having class rights, that's how you get the Labour Party. The Labour Party is supposed to represent the working class. Nevis never went through that type of revolution. And I feel like class consciousness now is becoming a thing. And it is important. All right, boy. It is important to get the working class in particular, the most important class in any country, to get together and to determine how the nation is going to move forward. And that's why I say it's on politicians or political persons to start to craft policies that are going to address the working class people. To put some comments on NTV. No, it's not, man. Look, NTV comments was actually on the screen as well. I just didn't read them. I was reading mine, but I was seeing them. There is another thing that the politicians need to do. There is one of the problems with the SSZ legislation is when legislation is read the first time, it is supposed to be published and made available to the public. The SSZ legislation was not published until about a week after the third reading. And that was a procedural error that I felt could have been argued about the procedure that went into place with this SSZ. And I think that going forward is going to be important because they say these things have to be argued in Parliament, that on the first reading, we need to have the published documents so that the public could go through and scrutinize. This is what they are in the topics. I tell you, I considering. I might ask them and get in and talk to Janice tomorrow because I would like to know the direction that the NRP is taking with regards to the working class. No one asked about the 23 billion. That was a missed opportunity. I cannot believe that Dr. Kelvin Daly, without the I, get up and ask question and ain't ask about the $23 billion. Everybody. Because let me tell you, the $22 million is a question one. Not care what class you're in. Ruling class, working class. That $23 billion there is very important. $2.3 billion would have been important, much less 23. So that was a missed opportunity that nobody brought up that penalty story there. Hopefully tomorrow at the press conference, we could get down to the $23 billion. That is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. And it must be emphasized by the parliamentarians and the opposition benches that after the first reading, it is required by law that the documents be published. We need to make this thing as public as possible, and also in general follow the law. One of the things where I was looking up as this was going on, because the Premier said just because somebody is morally reprehensible does not mean that the government should not do business with them. Morally reprehensible means engaging in unethical behavior that violate moral principles, societal norms, or professional standards, often resulting in harm to others or undermining trust and integrity. Such behavior is typically characterized by a disregard for ethical values such as fairness, respect, and responsibility. Some examples of this are taking advantage of misfortune, overbilling clients, lying, kickbacks, money under the table, mistreatment of animals, child labor, oppressive political activism, and false advertising. It cannot be accurate to state that just because somebody is morally reprehensible, that mean that you ain't gonna deal with them. It has to be a factor. One of the things that the Premier was speaking about with the due diligence, he was speaking about like if you did something criminal, I would point to you to the Cayman Islands legislation, which says that you have to be of good character. So it's not just that you were convicted of a crime. They will look at your character to see if it is worth doing business with you. You can't just tell me that this person, well, they lie, they mistreat people, but they got a lot of money, so we're gonna work with them. These are areas where Nevis people would like to know if that's who they are dealing with. Because there has to be some level of respect and partnership. The last thing I want to say is it would be unfair to not want this simply because Mr. Johnson's is a foreigner. We can't boast and say that Alexander Hamilton from Nevis and he went to America and built up Nevis and boast about those contributions. There are many examples in history of persons who we call foreigners who contribute to a society and become those people. Obviously, doesn't care for him. Whoever will may come. But having said that, also, as we're talking about foreigners, has anyone other than the government made any communication with the guy to see where he is coming from? Is he for real? I think it's for real that he got money, but I don't know of anybody outside of the real estate agent who has had contact with this individual. Because from what we heard, well, we can't say that. Diana is now involved. The Premier said that Diana was the one who did the initial paperwork. But when we come back to my foreigner angle, another mistake that I see the Nevis Reformation Party making is the consistent reference to Sharon Bradley as a foreigner or an outsider, however I want to put it. When election comes, you are supposed to be opening your tent and inviting persons in to participate and building coalitions. There are non-nationals who live in Nevis and who contribute to Nevis. If Sharon Bradley ain't RB1 by now, she will never be RB1. But me know what else Sharon could do. At this point in time, he done spend most of his life in a Nevis. To me, I be one he be. And to refer to her as an outsider, foreigner, however I want to put it, I want to see how that gonna work when you got to go deal with the nationals. I want to know how they are hearing it. And just in case I am incorrect, I have not heard anybody from PAM or PLP speaking about Dr. Joe's wife as a foreigner. I could be wrong. Maybe I ain't paying attention enough. But I do not feel like this angle is a winning strategy or angle. And to be fair, I haven't heard it from the leader. But me and the politician done bump head last week, so. But it's not a winning formula, in my opinion. But the people will decide. I'm going to tell you all good night and leave y'all. Hopefully see y'all in the morning. But ain't a winning formula. I feel like the working class have expressed their political dissidence tonight. And the organization of that working class is going to determine how Nevis move forward politically. So I would say good night to everybody and see you all in the morning, hopefully.
That way, them no want to see you rich. Them will love to see you in a ditch. Them no want to see you on tour. Them no want you get more, so get more. Show them you not afraid them. Go and load them. Every human have a something that them destined. That is your destiny. So be what you ought to be. Even if no want you reach nowhere. So you have to find a way. Them no want you reach nowhere. So you have to find a way. Them no want to see you fly. Them no want to see you touch sky. Them no want to see you fly. Hey. Bling bling, now me call it cling clong. Every song I write, hit song. Every song I write, hit song. Tell me something, am I wrong? To believe in myself, put nobody above myself. Energy, build your energy. Love, charity, what a sight to see. What a colossal. Working and working to prosper. What you gonna stop for? Keep on, it's right on the corner. Hey, make way when I'm weird there. Hey, tell the ears that them stay there. Hey, that is your destiny. To be what you ought to be. Even if no one you reach nowhere. So you have to find a way. Them no one you reach nowhere. So you have to find a way. Them no want to see you fly. Them no want to see you touch sky. Them no want to see you fly. Hey. Them no want to see you fly.